Hey. Well, which ones? Can you tell which one's me? Wait, oh fuck, my mouth's moving. Shit. Well, all right. Hi everybody. I'm the guy on the left, and the guy on the right is my clone. What's up, Steven and John and Zax? We are gonna bring on our guests pretty much right away here. We're talking Barbenheimer, and that's probably yeah, it's a mouthful, Barbenheimer. But welcome, the movie Cynic.
Hello.
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I've streamed with you on Zax, who's in the chat. We had a
what's up, Zax?
We had a little stream before 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And then Vex Electronica filling in for a last minute replacement. I so much appreciate you coming because we really wanted. I didn't want three guys just talking about Barbie.
I might as well be a guy at the rate that I'm just dunking on people in the comment section.
That's true. So. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, Kino's also waiting. I gotta give him. You know what? It's because I forgot to invite him. I gotta do that quick. So we have a fourth person. I'm telling him right now. Here you go, buddy. Send him the link. Yeah, we got a fourth person. This is when he gets here, I'll bring him on. But yeah, wow, we've 26 people. Wow. Chat. I just wanted to say, look behind me for a second. This is an AI image. First of all, for some reason, AI can replicate like Barbie dolls flawlessly. I don't know how it does it. I was playing around with it, and it just like the texture, it pulls from. It's really weird, man. Because I understand real people and stuff, but it's kind of bizarre. So I thought that would be a fun little background. Now, damn it! Now I have this weird sound effect in my ear from my Streamlabs. Do you guys ever have glitches?
Once in a while. Yep.
All the time. I live in Canada, so it's common for me.
Yeah, she had to go see Barbie twice to even get through it because the thing shut down the first time. So
yeah, there was a storm that passed through the first time.
That's right. I heard about that.
Yeah, everything went out and it fried the projector, so I had to go see it the next day. But I got free tickets, so can't complain.
Oh man. That's cool because I got free tickets for another Christopher. Oh, I got it was the Dark Knight Rises. They cut out 20 minutes of the movie. But
why?
It's just an accident. It was just like the thing broke down for about 20 minutes. So, what's up, Angela? I don't think I know. Have you? Hi, Lofty Barbie. I'm Ken. Okay, I'm Ken. Okay,
You are Knuff. You are
just Knuff. Okay. Guys, I'm beach today. I'm beach.
You're ready to beach off?
Yeah, I'm ready to beach off. Let's go. We're gonna beach off Kino Corner. Oh, he's still not here. I'll get him on. I sent you a DM, buddy. And then while I fix my glitch on my headset, I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourselves quick and do a little. Let's start with the movie Cynic because I want to also congratulate you for reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is insane.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Big number. So go ahead and tell people where they can find you and maybe like talk about your journey and for a little bit, and I'll be right back.
Sure.
Fix my thing.
Movie Cynic. You can just find me on YouTube searching Movie Cynic. It should pull up. Just hit 100,000 subscribers today. I've been doing it for a little over a year and change. And just obsessively, I don't know, it's just obsessed with YouTube and this niche. I love it. I love reviewing movies. So,
nice.
Did it really fast and really hard, and then hit 100K. So.
How fast was this again? I might have missed what you said. You started
probably like a year and 3 months, something like that.
Wow, that's very fast.
It was about a year ago. I was at 1,000 subscribers, and then like a video took off, and I figured out why it took off. And so just
wow. So. That's another friend of mine, Ryan Kinnell, had a very quick meteoric rise into the YouTube stratosphere.
Yeah, I like Ryan a lot. Yep.
So yeah, I think he hit 100K. Oh, we got another guest. We have our fourth pillar here, our third Ken. Welcome, the Kino Corner.
Hey, sorry I'm not dressed up.
No, that's okay, buddy. Did you dress up for the premiere?
Yeah, I did. I posted that on my Instagram and I think on Twitter.
What
Oh,
did you
shit.
wear?
I did the Cowboy Ken outfit. And I got the white cowboy hat, the pink ascot, the cowboy shirt. You know, I went all
Very
out.
nice.
Yeah, I try to get it pretty close. I couldn't get it exact, but it's like I'm going to the Alamo Draft House, right, for a movie screening. I think Alamo might have posted the photo of me because the lady who was putting it on took a photo and then I think posted on Alamo Draft House's Instagram. So you might be able to see me there.
I saw it on Twitter. You didn't have the
Yeah.
blonde wig.
No. I kind of thought about maybe bleaching my hair. And I was just like, no, that's not going to work. That's too much. That's too much for.
I'm not gonna do that. I got a wig. I'm going to Anime Matsuri. Chat, if anybody in chat's going to Anime Matsuri, hit me up on Twitter when you're down there. We can hang out. This is kind of what we do down there. We hang out with the people, the fans.
You should hit up Meat Canyon. He's gonna be there. He's a cool guy.
Right.
Yeah, he's really cool.
I'll network with that guy. I never met him. And then I'm doing Ken too. I'm doing the same thing, Cowboy Ken, for a day. And
I don't think I'm gonna. What is that? Beginning of August?
It's August 10th.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be too close because I'm heading out of the country right after that.
Oh, wow.
So
that's right.
I'm going to Central America. It's gonna be fun.
For how long?
Wow.
For a few days. Going to a private meeting in Central America.
That's wild. That's a wild endeavor.
Is this a cult meeting or something? Or
no, it's for creative people and tech people.
Okay.
This guy is the creative tech god. Lives in the capital of the world, or is what's that place called?
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, what's that convention called that everybody goes to?
Which convention?
South by Southwest.
South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Oh man, Austin is such a shit show during South by Southwest. Every year during South by, I just try not to go out. Although this last year I put on a rock show during South by. Yeah, it was Ariel Pink. I put on an Ariel Pink show here. And so I had to go downtown to get banners and stuff like that. And I hate it. And it's like, you have all these California people coming in here during that time. And so people are just ruder because Texans are just so much nicer. And they drive better. Like Texans on the highways are insane. They're insane people. But
Kino, check if it's a talent show.
No, it's not a talent show. Actually, I don't want to give out names or anything, but another big YouTuber from Austin is also coming with me.
Nice.
And we're gonna be doing talks on culture and stuff.
Ah,
yeah,
it's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, dude. Do you want to quick introduce yourself? I don't think you haven't been on my channel before. I will say, I've been working with you for a little while, doing some editing. What commissions or what are you?
Commissions. I think. Yeah, and now tomorrow I start my Twin Peaks series.
Yeah.
So the thing that kind of maybe threw a monkey wrench in it a little bit was that I have a new roommate, and so I had to move a whole bunch of stuff in my house around.
Oh.
And so this last week, between a lot of things, I'm also directing a short film. So the reason why I'm a few minutes late is I've been calling people to try to get a crew together and to try to get a cast together as well. I've been working on that kind of nonstop for the last week. We're shooting that short film on film. It's gonna be exciting.
Epic.
And I'm trying to get some big names in there. I have a few big names that are interested in being in it. Some of whom are SAG. And
wow,
I mean, you can get a SAG waiver. So you can get a SAG waiver if you're an
independent film.
Yeah, for independent film. It doesn't really affect us that much. And I know a guy who's a lawyer who used to be a lawyer for SAG. So, he can help me with that. But anyways, so guys, I am the Kino Corner. I make movie analysis videos on YouTube, and I shitpost on Twitter.
Don't we
and all? I'm currently trying to not use Letterboxd that much anymore. I'm waiting for my Twitter monetization to come through. I'm going to actually move all of my I'm gonna do like bigger reviews, like because on I just don't really like Letterboxd a whole lot.
Yeah, we'll talk about Letterboxd a little bit later. I want to talk about this
Yeah,
specific
and
thing that we'll
I
get
don't
into it.
think it's conducive to like nuanced reviews of things, and so I'm basically going to be, for Twitter subscriptions whenever that goes through, going to be doing like new movies, stuff that I don't necessarily want to make a video about, but like new movies that I see, doing more like longer reviews for Twitter subscribers, and I'll also post those on Patreon.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm going to be doing that, and yeah, you guys might know me for my Literally Me or Shocking Cinema videos. You might know me for the videos where I recommend kind of more obscure films.
Yes.
And you know, I'm big into European cinema, into art house, to indie stuff. And a year ago, I never thought I would actually be reviewing Barbie or Oppenheimer. I don't think I made one video on Nolan. It was like my very first video on my channel was about following Nolan's very first movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I'm not gonna do like the videos where it's like the truth about the Dark Knight or something like that. That's not really what I do. So
you got a good sense of humor and depth to your videos.
But yeah, so you know, ending explained. That's what I do. I do ending explained videos.
Every ending, unbreakable explained. Yeah, and and I've been working with you for the past couple weeks, and so I really enjoy your
since January.
You're actually months. You're a very good client, I guess I could say, because we have a similar sort of vision, and I kind of just get your style a little bit, so it's a good relationship. So yeah, check out the Kino Corner, definitely. And by the way,
I posted this to my community tab, so hopefully there are people from my channel coming in.
Oh,
shout out to you guys.
Shout out to the Kino chads.
Steven, you might be single. All right, Steven, but I don't bat for that team. Sorry.
Steven's coming off like a bit of a whore right now. He goes to everyone's chat and seems to be hitting on someone.
Against Ken is not gay. It's confirmed in the movie, guys. So no, by mods, if you're in the chat, mods, feel free. The link in the description has all of their channels, so feel free to occasionally link those. And then Vex, I would love you to introduce yourself and talk about your channel quick, and then we'll dive into some Barbie Oppenheimer shenanigans. Go ahead.
I am Vex Electronica. I'm unfortunately based out of Canada. I'm a newly minted bonus hole misogynist as well. And I started on Twitch. I was a Twitch streamer for a while, and then I decided to break into I was on a gaming podcast for a while, and I stopped doing that. And then I just randomly decided to make YouTube videos in December of this past year. I have a gaming channel, and then I moved all my movie related stuff over to a separate channel in May, and I just kind of make whatever I'm interested in. That's about it. And you'll probably see me in a million streams because I don't know how to say no. So I'm in I'm in like 4 or 5 different streams a day. Or a week. Sorry, a week.
It's so hard not to go.
I have a good time. That's why I'm just like, I have so much shit to do, but fuck it. I'm going to have so much fun. Who cares?
Kino, you're literally a one-eyed crow. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Odin.
You see the shirt I'm wearing? This is
is that Shamrock Champloo? I can't see.
No, it's Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, it's Bebop.
I'm literally Spike Spiegel.
Nice. Dude, I got Steve Blum's autograph at a convention. He's literally me too. Well, that's good. That's good. I went to your channel, Vex, and it didn't look like you had too many videos, so I guess you just kind of just started to take it more seriously, I guess.
Well, the second channel, which is like my main channel now, was just started, but like the gaming channel, that's been up for almost 8 months now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Feel free to link that in the chat, and then the mods can like duplicate it at some point throughout the stream.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
If you're interested. So thanks for everybody for joining. Wow, I've had big streams before, but I usually get way less than this. So thanks for being here, everybody, and new people. Kabuki Jones, what's up? Oh, we got a Kino boy in the chat.
Oh yeah, he's from the Discord. He's one of my patrons.
Discord. Oh, I'm in that Discord.
Yeah.
I just never talk.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're Barbenheimer is, what is it? It's
They just happen to be released on the same day.
Is it fair to is it fair to say, I said this before kind of ironically, but is it fair to say this is like one of the most hyped double features like to release in like recent memory and like the same day?
I think I think it's hyped too, just because of how polar opposites these movies are, and it became a meme because it's like Oppenheimer is definitely for the boys and Barbie is definitely for the girls, and
it is,
and so it was definitely like really hyped up. I think just because of how unlike each other each movie was, and they happen to release on the same day with big name directors behind them, Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan.
That's true. Greta Gerwig. Yes, we have two kind of artists behind these movies in a sense.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually excited for Barbie because I was a little iffy on her first movie. What was it called? Lady Bird. But I really liked. But I really liked. Like I thought it was okay. But I really loved Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of hoping that she would kind of carry that same energy from Little Women over to Barbie. But this, in a lot of ways, was a major departure, just in directing style too. Like it's her trying to do a mainstream comedy, where I feel like she does better when the comedy is a bit more subdued and nuanced. Like Little Women had a lot of nuance to it and to the character relationships.
That's what I
dynamics.
hear. I need to watch this, and I actually haven't seen a Greta Gerwig film, so I was gonna bounce those questions off of you when we start talking about that. Before we get into it, I have absolutely no shame, and I hate myself, and I thought I just wanted to entertain my chat today, so I made a stupid video, and I think it's a good segue into the Barbenheimer conversation. So I'm gonna play this quick, and chat. If you have to vomit, grab the nearest the waste bin and just use it. So here. Doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two. No one knows how hard I tried. Oh, I have feelings that I can't explain. They're driving me insane. All my life been so polite, 'cause I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the 10 and fight for me? I'm just Ken and I'm enough, and I am great at doing stuff. So hey, check me out, yeah, I'm just Ken. Baby, I'm just Ken. I'll see you on the Malibu beach. Closer I am to Hey everybody. Well, what the hell did we just watch?
Hey, that was pretty good.
I liked it. I really liked it.
Pretty good, man.
I thought it was funny, and I wasn't sure if I would just have to crawl into a hole for 3 years after that. But I think it turned out okay.
Own it. Own it.
It's the internet. If you had to crawl into a hole, it's for a week.
It's for 2 days, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was fun. I actually I had these like fun like parody songs I'm working on. Another one is Peaches from Mario. And I just think they're fun. I like editing them. But
I mean,
look,
Peaches is a song where all he says is peaches.
peaches, peaches, peaches. Yep.
Yeah.
And I
Most
have
original
Ryan
song I've ever heard.
instead of Peach. It's Ryan Gosling. I just have an obsession. Now, yeah, no, guys, I liked. Here's what I'll start by saying this. I liked Ken a lot in this movie. Okay, as you can see, okay, from all my shenanigans so far. And I think it would be best to start by talking about what maybe like what your expectations were going into the movie. Because we'll start with Barbie and then we're going to transition to Oppenheimer in a little bit.
Who goes first?
But well, I'm just going to say we'll go movie Cynic and then we'll go around the corner.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, I went into this. I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan. He's hilarious, makes me laugh. I'm not a huge fan when he of some of this when he really tries to like be super duper funny. I'm more like some of his subtle stuff. I didn't like him in. He was okay, but I didn't love him in The Nice Guys, to be honest. I thought it was a little forced, the humor. Maybe it was the script. The Gray Man he's kind of a mid movie, and the humor kind of fell flat in that one for me. I just like his more subtle stuff. I'm blanking on some of the movies, but in general, I was expecting this to be kind of cringe, but I thought he was incredible, and I thought it met my expectations, and I thought it was amazing. So Ken's performance, I really enjoyed. I want to know what you guys think. Movie Cynic, and you could talk about Barbie too, but like your expectations versus reality. You can do a little brief takeaway of the movie.
I mean, I was totally fine with it being originally. I just thought it was going to be like a movie for women, and they were trying to sell it as. It felt like they were trying to sell it as kind of how the Super Mario Brothers movie was, which was just like it's for everyone. Like you can come in and enjoy it. Yeah. It's not a it's not going to be a hard watch. It's just going to be. It's a brand, it's an IP, and we're just trying to sell it and make it as accessible as possible. So like they even advertise it as such in big, bold pink letters. It said, if you like Barbie, you'll love it. If you hate Barbie, you'll love it. So like, okay, like, yeah, I mean, it's literally my job to review movies. So I'll go see it and I'll, whatever. It did not meet expectations at all. I thought it was a giant pile of shit. I am not a Ryan Gosling fan. He was the best part of the movie,
sure.
I try and avoid anything he's in usually because my relationship with Ryan Gosling has been like, I don't like that. He was good in Drive because he didn't speak. And then I avoided everything else afterwards. I honestly thought like I liked the character, and it felt like the character was good in spite of what they were trying to do to him. Like he broke out of the movie. I think it's actually ironic that a man in the movie became the best part of a very feminist driven movie. But in all honesty, like I thought that anyone could have played that role. I just saw a person acting, and I didn't really feel like
they're calling you fake cell in the chat.
That's cool.
Okay. Hey, that's a valid opinion. I know people who think Ryan Gosling's overrated.
Yeah, I just don't like. He's famous because he's attractive. Like I find Henry Cavill, like the same idea. We talk about it on our live show every week. It's almost like a running joke at this point that I just don't like. I don't find Henry Cavill very good. I think that he's famous because he's an attractive dude that can look the part, and I feel like Ryan Gosling fit that role this time too. But yeah, that's my quick opinion on it anyway.
Vex, you go ahead, and then we'll get Kino's reaction, and then we'll open the floor. I'll be right back. I'm going to refill my coffee. Go ahead and talk for a bit. I'll be right back.
That was really quick. Okay. I thought he was the best part of the movie. I like Ryan Gosling personally, not because I don't think he's attractive personally, but I think he's a good actor when he tries.
Yeah.
He blew all my expectations out of the water personally. Like I thought this was just going to be a really like silly, like fun kind of movie. There was going to be an inkling of feminism in there because it's a fucking Barbie doll movie and it's Greta Gerwig doing it. But for like even the parts of the movie where it was trying to demonize him a lot and throwing all the patriarchy garbage and all that stuff, I still enjoyed his character. I looked forward to every moment that he was on the screen. And when he embraced the patriarchy, I was actually smiling in the theater because I was like, this is fucking phenomenal. Down to the mink coat. I loved it. Best part of the movie. I think he was perfect for that role.
Is Kino on mute?
Yeah, I think you're muted.
Am I muted?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Now you're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I was whispering and it wasn't coming through. Yeah. Okay, so I guess it's my turn. A lot of people will come back. Whatever. Anyways, I really went into this with zero expectations. I memed about it a lot, but just because it's Twitter shit posting, it's not anything serious. And like, you know, just like on Twitter, I'll meme about how I love Minions as well all the time, and how I love like terrible films just because it's funny. So I went into it with almost no expectations. I like to go into movies this way where I don't want to go in with any kind of preconceived notion of what the film is, how I'm going to think about the film. I might see trailers and I might see promotional stuff. I mean, there was a lot of promotional stuff for this film, but I don't let it change the actual experience of watching the movie. And I always try to go in with more of a blank slate approach, where a movie that I might hate the trailer for, I still want to love. Like every movie that I pay for a cinema ticket, I want to love it. I didn't pay for a cinema ticket for this. My friend happened to have an extra ticket that she was going to take her family to go see it, and then when it became when they found out it was PG-13, she didn't want to take her 8-year-old. So I went with them. I went with them, and so I didn't have to pay to see it, fortunately. But I think that Barbie though was a mixed bag. I really love Ken. I mean, Ryan Gosling is, I think, a terrific actor, and to counter the movie cynic, he's not attractive. He was actually cast in movies because they found him to be so average looking. Like that's why he was cast in The Notebook. That's why he was cast in
I forgot about The Notebook.
Nelson.
Yeah,
that was my first experience with him. So.
That's why he was cast in Half Nelson and The Believer. And if you haven't seen The Believer, you got to watch The Believer. It's such a fantastic movie. Half Nelson is also fantastic. I mean, Drive is amazing. I will defend Only God Forgives. His role in Place Beyond the Pines is fantastic. It's definitely the highlight of the movie. And I think
it's the only good part of that movie, in my opinion. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the part that everyone remembers is the part with Gosling in it, for a reason, you know. And he was great, I think, also in Blade Runner 2049, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that movie. I think that he can elevate a lot of the films that he's in. He has this charisma to him. He has this stoic charisma that I think is really attractive, especially to young men and to guys like me, where he doesn't have to, in a lot of these films, he can be that kind of somber, almost like 70s De Niro type actor.
Yeah.
And still be emotional as well, which is actually a very difficult thing to do as an actor. And so,
is that why he's literally everybody, you think?
Yeah, it's like he's definitely an actor he's a great actor in what he does, and it's not like he's Henry Cavill. He's not some Giga Chad. He's like an average looking guy, average height, but he can be this kind of hero or anti-hero, or, you know, whatever you want to call him in these films. And, you know, and he definitely makes himself more of a himbo in this movie, and he elevates every scene that he's in. All the Ken scenes I really liked, and he stole the show. His charisma was so much above everybody else in this film. In fact, Gosling in it, you might even argue, lowers the quality of the movie, because you realize how none of the other actors are really on his level in this film, that it's like he's magnetic when he's on screen, and the other actors just can't get to that. They
That's
feel
interesting.
like they
Yeah.
feel like background to him, and
Yeah.
they feel like background to him. But what I'll say about the movie that I really did enjoy, I really loved the production design of the film and
Yep.
the cinematography. I think that from a technical perspective, Barbie is masterclass. It's got great sound design. It's got this immaculate set design that's definitely inspired by the likes of Jacques Demy and Jacques Tati. Like, I know that Greta Gerwig was talking about that, but you go back and you watch something like Umbrellas of Cherbourg, or the Young Girls Before
Playtime.
Store,
Yeah.
or Playtime.
I wanted
the whole Mattel scene definitely felt like straight out of when I was the cubicles. I was like, this is like Playtime right here.
Well, look, Kino, we'll get into that,
yeah.
because I want to break that down specifically at some point. I do want to bring up this. We got some super chats quick. Jayu, yum yum ice cream, yum tasty.
Jay is another patron of mine.
Did I miss a joke or something?
Ice cream so yum.
Ice
yum,
cream.
Yum,
Oh
yum.
yeah.
Spicy.
Ice cream. So no spicy. Yes, thank you for that. Thanks for the reminder of my existential dread of opening TikTok. And Bass Player, thank you, buddy, for the $4.99. Coming this summer, Barbie's Bikini Atoll Dream House with real nuclear fallout. Yeah, I mean, they better watch out. Malibu Beach is about to be hit with a megaton force of energy. I did want to talk. Now, I guess we got our expectations out of the way, and we had a little bit of an interesting kind of differences of opinions over Gosling, which I think is interesting. I would like to say that I think we all can agree that the movie is flaws.
Yeah.
And I think what would be best is if we start talking about some of our pros, and then we'll talk about maybe why the movie fell apart or didn't work at all. And I did want to get into this idea of aesthetic, because it's hyper stylized. Barbie, if you haven't seen it, guys, it's like I was kind of shocked how first of all, the set designs. I think she said in an interview, she talked about using miniatures and composites, which it was hard for me to tell. A lot of those top-down shots looked like Barbie play sets, and they might have been actual miniatures. And
but just so you know, that miniatures don't mean mini.
Right,
like,
right. They're
if you see the miniatures for movie
scale.
sets, they can be quite large.
Scale.
Yeah.
And then all of these references, I actually have. Let me pull this up quick. I have exactly what you were talking about right here.
It's like the 32 movies or so that inspired the film.
Yeah, it's actually her watch list. So this is interesting. There's a video, actually, if you just want to watch the video, it's on YouTube. But it kind of talks, here it is. It kind of talks about her influences. And like, I guess let's talk a little bit about this first, and then we'll get into like Jacques Tati and some of the other stuff. But what I loved this opening sequence, and I think people are like, I don't know if people are misinterpreting it or just maybe it's going over their heads or whatever. But
I think that I think with a movie like this, I think with a movie like this is that a lot of people are going to project their own biases onto this film.
Yeah.
Because this film really clumsily handles its subject matter of matriarchy versus patriarchy, and then and it tries to work in this like dialectical sense where it comes to a synthesis at the end, but the synthesis at the end really is just yet another inversion of real life. It doesn't they don't try to make, like, I think one of the problems is that they don't try to make this like truly equal society. They're just like, oh no, we're just going to be the inversion of what it's like in LA, which how they portray it in LA is not how it is in LA. Like, I went and looked this up right after, and there are women on the board of Mattel. So
that's a big
YouTube.
That's a big thing. People are saying, "Oh, this movie's trying to depict reality." No, it's really not. It's trying to just memeing reality.
It's trying, and it does have these like slights in the film, like towards corporate virtue signaling. There's that. It kind of takes a shot at corporate virtue signaling. It tries to be, you know, at the end, Ray, what's her name? Ray Perlman says that like, oh, patriarchy is just kind of this made up idea people make up to like understand the world. And she isn't even like that, like upset at the state of things. Her character isn't. So the movie does try to take this middle ground approach, but it handles it in a very kind of clunky way that I can understand why people will think it's woke, or people think it's a, as I saw some reviews that I was reading after, a feminist rallying cry, when it really kind of is neither. It's trying to sort of portray a parody of all of these things.
It's trying,
but then it makes a mistake of being this very silly movie that then tries to have this emotional end, and the way that it handles that, it just doesn't feel very deserved. And like it feels like it should have definitely a sillier ending rather than trying to like this pull at the heartstrings ending where there's a lot of stuff being said from all these different perspectives, and it just kind of feels like it doesn't really know what it wants to say. So I think that I can't really hate on people for like then misinterpreting other parts of the movie when the film itself, I had a feeling like it didn't really know what it wanted to say. And but I do think that people trying to make the first scene out to be some sort of like baby sacrifice scene, I think
that's what I was gonna that's what I was gonna say. Like, and you echoed that with like sort of like throughout the movie, kind of other people sort of taking things maybe the wrong way, or maybe the movie just is flawed in its delivery. But in this scene in particular, what I got out of this is, okay, if you've seen 2001, this is a scene where these apes are being apes, and then this a monolith comes down and it basically offers them knowledge, and they touch the monolith, and then they start learning how to, basically they take these bones and start using them as weapons. It's like evolutionary sort of metaphor for, you know, humanity. And I think what they were trying to do here is just, it's not really that symbolic. It's just, they even say it in the movie, it's baby dolls were like, that was it. That's all kids had to play with was baby dolls. And then Barbie comes along and offers this like idealized, you know, what is a woman, I guess. And and it, to me, it was pretty straightforward. It was like, oh wow, all these girls now have something to look up to, as opposed to like, and I didn't think it was that malicious. Like, I didn't think, oh, motherhood is bad was the message. I think it's just more like, this is setting up kind of the vibe of like the purpose of Barbie, sort of. What, I don't know, Vex, I want you to take it away.
I completely disagree with you.
Okay, that's why I wanted you here, because I want to do like, you know, feel free to go back and forth, guys, and we can.
I really liked this opening scene. I liked the call to 2001 Space Odyssey. I thought it was very funny, right? But it's the fact that it does, like with Helen Mirren voicing over in the background, it does take quite a few digs at motherhood in particular. Like, skate over the line on, oh, all girls had to play with were baby dolls. They even like literally first 2 minutes, I remember her saying people don't like a pregnant doll, so we didn't keep making them. The fact that these girls aren't just maybe like leaving the baby dolls behind to maybe go get a Barbie, but instead we have these really long-winded shots of them very maliciously and angrily smashing them on rocks is quite disturbing. Because in the that first teaser trailer, it was like, okay, you could take it or leave it. Like, you could take it either way, really. But seeing now the final cut, they spent like just as much time showing us shots of that as the shots of Margot Robbie's giant, you know, monolith Barbie doll. So I took it the completely opposite way personally. And it's set the tone for the movie, because as it progresses, I agree with what Kino says. This film doesn't know what it wants to be. It can't decide whether it's satire, whether it's comedy, whether it's a drama, whether it's meant to be like a family movie. It doesn't know what it wants to be, and the ending throws off kind of everything that we see leading up to it. But this does set the tone, because you see a lot of instances that are anti-nuclear family, anti-motherhood, anti just basically anything that would be considered a traditional gender role for women.
That's interesting. I can't help but agree with like a lot of what you said. I I wanted to touch on the one thing you just said, which is the movie being unfocused. And I think Kino said it, and then I said it, and then what the best analogy I have for this is, if you ever seen the movie Elf, that movie knows exactly what it wants to be, and it's just satirizing this idea of like growing up and things like that. It's in a very straightforward way, and it doesn't deviate from that, and it's also very simple. It doesn't like it doesn't like funnel you into these like obscure reference points and these rabbit holes and then take you out of them and then go back into another one like this movie does. So movie Cynic, I'm curious what you think about that whole focus of the film and whether or not you think it was satire or maybe a failed combination of both, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was absolutely like a failed combination, I think. Like I didn't think too much of this in the opening. I just thought it was trying to be a clever callback to 2001. But that's the point, is like that's why we're even having this debate here, because you can read so many things into it. Once you get to the end of the movie, it kind of can retroactively speak to what Vex was saying, though, because like the ending of the film, it tries to paint like like a middle ground, but it almost feels like a besides the point kind of thing. Like, oh, we need to try and we need to make sure that no one can call us misandrous for what we're doing. So let's just be like, oh, a matriarchy's bad too. We'll just move on to that.
She then structures the movie like 2001. Like the movie is structured like 2001. And I'll make the case for this is because 2001 was essentially a sci-fi version of the passage from Thus Spoke Zarathustra,
or Zarathustra,
and where Nietzsche describes like the states of being, right? I talked about this briefly in my recent Nightcrawler video, but there's 3 states of being, right? There's the camel, the lion, and the child. And the camel takes on the burden of society, right? And it's just very complacent and likes the status quo of everything. The lion then is, and that's like childhood. And then adolescence is to go against that. But yet you're still defined by what society is, because you're defining yourself as anti that. And so that's like her, her like fighting against kendom. And then the child is when you kind of reject all of that and what Nietzsche described as amoral rather than immoral, and you forge a new path for yourself, and it's a rebirth. And they show that. I mean, it's very like, it's very kind of obvious, her going into the void and her becoming like a human and a rebirth of body and spirit. Yeah, kind of. Except they then sort of undercut that with the last line of the movie where she's like, "I'm here to see my gynecologist," and she's like living like a normie in LA. I mean, I get the gynecologist thing because it's like alluding to her now having that anatomy, and her having a human body rather than a doll body. But it just felt like, to me, it felt like kind of a crass and a dumb way, like right after to end the film, especially right after this like 15 minutes of really trying to pull at the heartstrings and make like some sort of like emotional ending to it. And then then it just kind of undercuts the tone that they've now tried to pivot to.
Not only that, but another thing that undercuts the tone is the fact that right before she basically left the matriarchy, she helped rebuild the matriarchy in Barbie Land. So the movie is wildly all over the place. I didn't understand.
Well, and then there's like reaction shots of her face during all of this, suggesting that she's not actually a fan of what she's doing.
I mean,
like suggesting that she's like kind of like still doesn't quite know what she wants.
It's not clear though, because it was her idea to subvert the kendom and bring it back to.
But here's the other problem. If we're gonna get into that, the problem with the logic of this movie, but one of the problems with the logic of this movie, right, is that how long did it take Ken to turn Barbie Land into kendom?
like a minute.
2
day.
seconds.
Yeah. And so now that Barbie's gone, like, are the like they allude that the Kens are now going to have as much power as women have in our world. So I'm assuming
Soon.
a lot, but you know, and they're gonna longhouse the Barbies.
Ken is
and,
the Rorschach of this generation. That's an interesting.
But you know, it's
Yeah.
like, so with her, she kind of led that revolt, and the humans did too. So with her and the humans gone, is it going to revert back to Kendom? Because it seemed pretty easy for them to just like completely
to
take
get
over.
brainwashed.
I found that's what's interesting too, is like it's so the whole purpose is that the women are strong, independent, and they run everything. But as soon as they were exposed to the patriarchy, they are actually like, oh, this is fucking dope. Like, I want to be part of this. This is cool. And so they come in and they're like, oh, there's no way you could be enjoying this because this is bad. The only way to be independent is to do exactly what we deem as correct and right. So I'm just like, you can't just allow people to make decisions on their own. And like, especially listening to Greta Gerwig speak during interviews and things, it seems like she wants to do certain things to have like a middle ground, like I was saying earlier, but it just feels like there's like this sense of malice underneath everything. Like it's like she's doing everything even though she doesn't really want to do these kind of plot details and plot points.
Here's an interesting. I'm going to pull this quote up and then we'll go back to this because I want to continue to talk about this. But this is what I wanted to. Wait, where is it? Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is actually a quote from, I believe, Greta. She was interviewed. She says, see if that's better to read. When I hear you use the word humanist, I feel like I need to gently push back on behalf of the fans who are going to love this movie and perceive its messages as unabashedly feminist. She says, of course, I am a feminist, but this movie is also dealing with the idea that any kind of hierarchical power structure that moves in any direction isn't so good. You go to Mattel, and it's like, oh, Barbie has been president since 1991. Barbie had gone to the moon before women could get credit cards. We kind of extrapolated out from there that Barbie land is reversed, is this reversed world where the Kens are underclass. The reverse structure of whatever Barbie land is almost like Planet of the Apes. You can see how unfair this is for the Kens because it's totally unsustainable. So I think maybe that's what you were sort of alluding to a little bit. But it sounds to me that she at least was trying to make the point that the matriarchy or the patriarchy or this one-dimensional kind of like reversal or of what it previously was is not a solution, and therefore that's why Barbie left at the end. To me, that came across pretty well. I thought it's just there were so many other in your face like monologues and things that just got in the way.
The monologues,
100%.
the heavy-handedness. I think that I think that Barbie, the movie, could have this message of kind of like more of an egalitarian message, more of like a pro kind of individualist freedom message, if it also didn't have so much heavy-handedness before that.
Right.
And I understand
they never
like
once say they never once it's so heavy-handed in the in shaming how a patriarchy is bad. They never once say the term matriarchy. That's why I'm saying, like, right at the end, it's almost like a passive, like, oh shit, this isn't very good. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. And it's almost like a besides the point ending. Even though that should be the fundamental conclusion there.
Yeah, because it seemed like that's the conclusion that the movie wanted, is like, no, everyone should be equal. Like, God created all man like equal. And so the Ken should be equal to the Barbies. But then the Barbies are like, yeah, we're not going to put you in higher up in government, And so I guess, she leaves. But, I also want to say that Kendom seemed like a lot more fun than Barbie Land. It seemed like, it seemed like the Kens were having more fun, and,
the women did
more
too.
Free to, everyone was like more free to kind of do what they wanted.
The Kens did have a lot more fun, and they leaned into it. Vex, I wanted to get your perspective on some of the issues that you had with the gender roles, because I know we talked about that in DMs a little bit, and if you have anything interesting to kind of point us in the direction, there's a bunch of screenshots here. I'll just start clicking through stuff, but
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that stuff?
I hated this movie. I'm going to be like completely honest. Ken was the best thing about it, and that's about it. In terms of the whole, I could be on board with the whole challenging gender roles thing if the solution for this movie wasn't just to make Barbie hyper masculine at the end of the film. You see that in how she confronts Ken at the very end, like just like, oh, I don't actually want you, even though you're literally made for each other. Like there's no if, ands, or buts about it. So she pushes him to go and find himself, pushes him out of the kind of familiarity of all the other Kens, like that companionship that he's built up that's actually been far more supportive than she has ever been to him.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she kind of just abandons this very hyper feminine and really, girly look that she's carried through the entire movie.
Like this one.
Yeah, for this really like drab, just kind of like dead attire at the very end. So
do you think that
Barbie?
Oh, I want to just cut in. Do you think that the whole Margot Robbie is mid discourse was a astroturf? Because like it seemed like by the end of the movie, the point that she is mid is kind of the point of the movie, right? Because she's like, over the course of the film, they do her up less and less and less to where she just kind of looks like an average woman. Where at the beginning she's beautiful, she has like perfect hair, perfect makeup and everything, and by the end she's wearing very little makeup. Her hair is just kind of down; it's not done up or anything.
Yeah,
and she's wearing these clothes that aren't quite like accentuating.
I don't think that was
accentuating her.
I don't
either.
Twitter being Twitter.
Yeah,
but
and
maybe
the interesting thing too is like I had to be reminded by my girlfriend who went to see this with me that she wasn't wearing makeup near the end of the movie. I had no idea. The whole time I'm just like, yep, Margot Robbie's still hot.
I don't think guys
like I was just sitting there the whole time like she's gorgeous. Like there was nothing I never noticed once.
You can see it. Like
I have enough women in my life to notice those things now.
Oh no.
No, Kino's spot on. Like they do dress her down towards the end of the movie, but it's just I don't like that if you want to be kind of a modern woman and kind of abandon all these traditional roles and everything, you need to abandon femininity as well. I don't like that at all. Like they try to dress it up a little bit cute by she's wearing pink Birkenstocks, not those drab brown ones that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of how it approached the whole thing. And again, there were instances where it's like, oh, this could have been a really fun movie. This could have been a really powerful movie. This actually could have like had some really good messages in it. But it's like Greta Gerwig is just like, nah, fuck it. I'm just gonna make men the villain every chance I can, or make them a fucking idiot every chance I can, and I'm just gonna keep shoving this patriarchy shit down your throat.
There was a lot of
I think that Barbie's character though is a little like Ken's character is he gets the job done. I'll just say this. Ken does get the job done.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I feel like it's in spite of the movie though. I don't think that's kind of I was reading someone say it was like the John Walker effect, which is like they cartoonishly amplify all of these traits that are supposed to be hyper obnoxious and make the audience root against them, but it has the opposite effect where it makes them a more sympathetic character.
Yeah. Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that, like, because of how they treat Ken at the end, I don't think that they, as I said, I think the film
they treat him like shit.
I think. Well, no. Like
at the end,
watching the movie though, I feel like the Gerwig and Baumbach liked writing Ken's character more than any other character because there's more character. They give him all the best lines. They give him all the best.
He had an
moments.
actual arc.
Yes,
and he has an actual arc.
Yeah,
and I feel like they had a lot more fun writing his character, and they don't really treat it. They don't really treat him as a villain, more as like a kind of a spiteful ex. You know why he's doing everything, but you understand why he's doing it, and you don't like. I never felt like, oh, he's the bad guy. It's kind of like she's now getting the treatment that she was giving to him, and it's more of coming to an understanding.
To me, it was like he is doing what you just said. He's doing what she was sort of doing to him in a way that's like sort of it's very immature, but it's like there's a, you could see based on his facial acting, like he doesn't have to say it, but he feels bad sort of for sort of having to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wish, and then I just wish that he had his own agency towards the end of the movie, because they had this big number, this big musical number that I fucking
the best
love.
part of the movie.
It's so epic. And then this one here, and then the whole song culminates like, I'm just Ken, I'm enough, or whatever. I want her to see me for who she, for who I am. And then I'm like, wow, this is really like leading this arc is kind of like culminating and probably have this cool catharsis here. And then guess what happens right after this? He becomes a fucking incel again and starts to try to like kiss her and shit. And then she has to like basically reject him 6 times before he so I don't know what they did that. Like why they edited. Maybe it's the editing or the way the movie
it just felt like it just felt like the movie was working to something, and I was kind of along with it. I was like, I see where it's working towards. Like it's working towards this, like they realize that they're all their own person and that they need to live in a more equal society, right?
Yeah.
And then right after this dance number, the quality of the writing just like falls down immensely. And it just becomes like they had no idea how to end this, and then they undercut his progression from his arc. They undercut a lot of the arcs. I mean, Barbie's whole arc, I was kind of saying like Ken's arc is definitely like this, right? It's like this parabolic line.
Yep.
Where he's always moving towards something. Barbie's arc is like she's static, then she has this existential crisis, so she starts to move. And then for almost a whole movie, she's kind of still in the same place.
Yeah.
Of like, I still want status quo, but I'm now thinking more like a human, and I want things to go back to status quo. So her character isn't really developing for most of the movie. And then right at the end, it's like, oh, I want to be a human. And, and so she's kind of a static character for much of the movie. And I think one of the reasons why Ken is definitely more of a character that people like is also because in every scene his character's evolving in some way. He's discovering some new things. She's not really discovering a whole lot. Like, what does she actually take away from
her motivations at the end of the movie, outside of maybe wanting to become a real person because it's like appealing in a weird way? Her motivations for like going back to Barbie Land and then like reversing it, it was never. It didn't make any sense to me. It was never explained why she thought this was important to do, and then like the whole signing of the Constitution. Like, basically, all you're doing is replacing the patriarchy with a matriarchy, and there was no subtext to like her kind of what you said earlier, being the infant or the camel in the line or whatever, rejecting both of those things, and then like telling everybody they're just being like immature and stupid. She kind of just goes along with it, and then finds herself at the end, and there was this awkward like break of her character arc.
It's like the script needed a few more passes, I think. Like, and then there were definitely like I think
I did want to talk about some of these like this. I did want to, like,
what I wanted to say
go ahead.
though is, making a Mattel movie or making any movie based off of a major brand, you're going to have brand influence as well.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to one of my families that works in finance and works at a hedge fund and keeps up with all this. And they were telling me that I guess Mattel's been having some problems with ESG recently, and that they could have put some of this stuff in, or wanted it to be more blatant to essentially appeal shareholders a bit more, or appeal that sector of things a bit more. And that Gerwig might have wanted it to be more nuanced, because their other films are quite nuanced. And that might have been Mattel. And
that's kind of interesting, because then that maybe explains why Amy Schumer left a little bit. There's so much to talk about. I mean, I might even have to do
no fat Kens.
No fat Kens. I wanted to talk visual.
Barbie. Yeah, there's a fat Barbie, and there's
Barbie.
A trans Barbie, which
there's a trans Barbie.
But no Kens with beer bellies after all those brewskis are drinking, and none of them have beer bellies.
Yeah, there was no Thor. There was no like fat Thor Ken.
You know, the men
Kino
have to be
brought up-
himbos.
Kino brought up Playtime and Jacques Tati. Now here's funny thing. I was looking for movie references. I know Greta Gerwig's a cinephile, and I was like, oh, when this came around, I have seen this movie, but the first thing I thought of was The Matrix with Neo running around,
Yeah,
like
same.
That's
running
what I
away
thought
from-
of too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the Mr. Smith's chasing it just had that vibe, right? Didn't it?
Mhm.
Well, Matrix
it
was
was
probably
definite-
inspired by Playtime.
It was exactly
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. So I know she's a big Jacques Tati fan, and Kino. Maybe you could just briefly like talk about like the aesthetic value of the movie, because I thought that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, the
and
aesthetic value is definitely high. Like,
yeah,
you know, you have to really give it to like from a technical perspective. As I said, this is quite fantastic with what they're doing and how they're portraying just the world of Barbie, because the idea behind it is like Barbie Land is like how a little girl would imagine Barbie Land to be, which is tons of pinks, this kind of plastic, you know, like even the touches, like that their pools are just like she walks on the water in the pools, because none of the water is real. It's like,
And
you know, it's just
they
blue
don't
plastic.
use stairs; they just jump off buildings.
Yeah, they just jump off buildings because that's how you play with dolls. And
There's
I know
really
that
cool
she was
matte paintings. Like there's no environment. It's just like
it all has a sense of
imagination.
artifice.
yeah.
It all has a sense of artifice to it. And you know, as far as colors, I know she was talking about Jacques Demy, and that comes very obvious. Like if you've seen, as I brought up the Young Girls of Rochefort and Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but also like
that's up here.
Donkey Skin, and the other one that was the Un Chambre something, whatever, his movie he made in 1980, definitely feels very inspired by like his whole work of film. You also see Tati. You see a lot of cinematic references, and we talked about 2001, but
2001, the Red Shoes, Singing in the Rain,
the Red Shoes, Wizard of Oz. I mean,
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, quite a few
Wings
Wizard
of Desire
Oz references. A lot of the story is her wanting to become human, and then talking the void is like straight out of Wings of Desire.
It's literally that talking to an angel kind of dialogue, and it's so if you haven't seen Wings of Desire, it's probably in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It's so good.
Yeah,
black and white German film from the 80s.
Nick Cave is in it.
Nick Cave
and
is
Peter
in
Falk.
it. Peter Falk, Bruno Ganz. Yeah, it's so good. Who's the girl who plays the ballerina dancer, or the tightrope?
Her name is
I can't remember her name.
She was also in Until the End of the World. She was Wim Wenders' fiance, I believe, and she ended up dying really young.
Beautiful woman. She also references The Truman Show being a big influence on this movie.
Oh, of course. Sylvain Domartin. That's the woman's name.
Kino's my go-to French guy. But yeah, I just thought it was beautiful. Like it was so well done visually, and it's part of that is like I found out she's doing C.S. Lewis. Yeah, C.S. Lewis's wardrobe. What the fuck is Chronicles of Narnia?
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
And I'm like,
isn't it like 2 or 3 films? It's like it's gonna be 2 or 3 movies.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's gonna be that and then Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I mean, I kind of want to see a silver chair, the Last Battle movie. You know, Disney didn't make those back in the day.
No, they fucking
Horse and His Boy. What about a Horse and His Boy kind of Western style movie? Come on.
They need to. But I'm like, she's good at this. It's just wow. It was just I thought it was a messy movie, and I didn't love it. I want to get to Oppenheimer soon. Is there anything else you guys had to wanted to talk about Barbie to kind of hash out quickly in a
other than it's kind of a forgettable movie?
Other than that, I like. What did you think? Let me ask this. Let me go to my thingy-majig. What did you think?
There's already a little Dark Age edit of Barbie, by the way.
Oh, I think I heard about that. What did you think of the back and forth between like the real world stuff, like, and that I just thought that was beautiful. Like I liked that whole back, like going out of Barbie Land and then into the real world, and then. But here's the deal: the real world was super boring and cliche. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that might have been intentional. Like, it seemed to me like it wanted to portray the real world as like not great. So
Yeah.
the cinematography and set design does take a massive step down when they're in the real world. And it kind of looks like any other movie.
When she was being yelled at by those teenagers, okay,
Yeah,
I took that as like I was watching that and I was like these idiot like kids spend too much time on the internet. They don't know what they're talking about. Everything is out of context. They use words they don't know what it means. I didn't take it as the director thinking that Barbie's a fascist. Like I think people are like tugging at every string that they can find to like tear this movie down. And you don't have to, because the movie
I don't think the
poorly
director
made.
thinks Barbie's a fascist.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think people are going a little bit too far with some of the, because like I said, the movie has so much wrong with it. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Max?
There's other things to critique.
What was your least favorite part of the movie?
Me?
Yeah, go for it.
The whole movie basically that didn't involve Ken. Like literally every scene that didn't have Ken in it was the worst part of the movie.
It is true. And it's like, it's except I will say this, there's two scenes with Margot that I thought were amazing. Talking to the old woman, which Mattel wanted to cut apparently out of the movie.
It does kind of feel like a Stanley cameo sort of thing, but I also think that the movie wouldn't have like that. The movie's kind of, even like the movie's attempt to be moderate wouldn't have existed if not for Ray Perlman's character. Like Ray Perlman's character is like this, like the more like moderate kind of like the middle grounds, you know, the voice of wisdom, right? And I
she
think
didn't really have much of a voice though throughout the entire movie. Like she was just when she's first introduced, it's in just like they don't really explain what that room is, but she's just basically trapped in a room, and all she does is she gives Barbie some. Yeah, she gives Barbie some tea, and then that's like a whole fucking like revelation or some shit. And that's supposed to be like, oh my god, this is like a magical old woman.
Are you saying tea is not a revelation?
Are you? What are you not? You've never been to the UK?
But like,
no, you're right. Question, guys. Barry's tea or Lion's tea? That's the big question. Those are the two real factions in Ireland.
No, you're
Barry's
right, Vex.
versus Lion.
The only thing I got out of that was, this is an Oracle reference from The Matrix. It's like the only thing I got out of that.
Even then, it's like there's no wisdom that comes through in the scene at all, and she just kind of shows up at the end because you're like, oh, she's in a secret room, so she must be important, and she'll definitely come back later. And then all she talks about is her fucking tax evasion and the daughter that she doesn't really have in contact anymore.
Yeah.
So
inside jokes and
this whole like I can kind of see where you're coming from with maybe the director doesn't actually think Barbie is a fascist or doesn't think that she's a white savior or anything. But there's so many other inklings of like very heavy like political ideologies in there that it's really hard to ignore and try and like just sweep it aside that
it is hard to ignore.
There might be a chance that she does think this, right?
The whole monologue that's hard to ignore at the end.
That is hard to ignore. You absolutely cannot ignore that. That's like my audience literally clapped because there's like 95% women. Yeah, it was engineered for that to happen in the theater.
It's like it's.
Go ahead,
man, I don't want to be racist. I can't say it.
No, do it, Lofty. Do it.
It's like this black lady next to me was like, that's how it is. And I'm just like, she started snapping her fingers. And I'm just like, oh.
See, I went with my women friends to see this, and they were like, I don't want to be reminded of this. Like when that's what they said. Like
I had a different.
Sorry, go ahead, Vex.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do think that the Gen Z kid saying that about Barbie is what the director thinks, because Greta Gerwig, I have an interview I'm splicing up to put in my review to make my points, and she specifically talks about why Barbie is all of the things, including something that's supposed to be uplifting for women and also something that makes them feel bad about themselves. So I think that is like every single thing about Barbie in this movie is like a self-insert of how it's constantly, it felt like a constant message of how all of your problems are somebody else's fault. And in this instance, the Gen Z kid feels bad because of how Barbie makes her feel. And I'm just like, it's this constant, it felt like a perpetual like avalanche of people just don't want to take accountability for themselves and just like
Yeah.
preaching about shifting blame, and it's everybody else's fault, whether it's the patriarchy or fucking Barbie. Like it's always
That's
someone
why-
else's fault.
That's why
It's
the
still
movie
not as
Elf-
self-loathing as Bo is
Yeah.
Afraid, though. Bo is
Oh,
Afraid
God.
is the
I
ultimate
didn't
movie
see
of
that
every
yet. I'll
all
have
my
to
problems
know.
are somebody else's fault.
Is it? Wait, I'm watching that tomorrow night. Am I gonna hate
Yeah,
it?
that's the ultimate movie of all my problems are somebody else's fault.
Oh boy, I'm excited for it. I like Ari Aster. We'll find out. But yeah, no, it's yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think Barbie just. Oh, there was just too many. Yeah, like Elf, for example. There's like jokes and shit, but like this movie could have substituted a lot of that like angst, like feminine angst or whatever you want to call it, with just jokes about like Barbie and shit, like or the meta of like, you know, the toy line or more accessory jokes. Like that's why Elf is so much fun to watch. It's so lighthearted, and
Yeah.
this movie was super duper like. You have to contemplate. You have to like think. There's like a deeper meaning to everything everybody says. It's just like way too much over the top.
Well, speaking of Elf, I think Barbie could have used less Will Ferrell because he was phoning in this performance in this.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
he
for
was
sure.
just doing the
Useless
typical Will
in this-
Ferrell.
Yeah.
Paycheck. For
Yeah,
sure.
Phoning
like
it
his
in,
character too.
Doing
His character too has like they follow them into Barbie Land, and then nothing happens because of it. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, he just happens to be there.
Yeah, they need to, because the plot needs like a villain-esque type of deal.
Such a
like, it needs
waste.
somebody, yeah.
It was
some
a
sort of
waste.
antagonist.
And I hated the kid. I thought her mother was fine, but everyone's like, she's the best supporting actor winner. You know, I'm like, what? She didn't really do much. People are so obsessed with America, whatever her name is.
Ferrera.
Ferrera.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, she gave the best performance of the whole movie. I'm like,
It's because of that
what are you
speech.
smoking?
She was just America
Because of that
Ferrera,
speech.
but now she's skinny. That's all.
Yeah.
Just the thing I've always seen her as.
Do you think it's before we go to Oppenheimer? I want to say I want you to give me your ratings of the movie, but I also want to say, do you think it's possible to make a Ken movie spinoff?
They won't do it.
What do
They
you
They
wouldn't
think?
don't have
dare.
the balls to do
No,
it. Yeah.
No, they said that they would do it.
Did
Actually?
Greta say that, or
I think they greenlit it. I think they greenlit a Ken movie spinoff.
I heard about that, but I thought it was like, is it in the same character and universe and everything, or is it
so.
like? Yeah, I did hear about it, but I didn't know any details about it. I'm just wondering if you think it would work. Like,
I mean, who knows? Like, who knows? I think that a
don't know
Ken
if it-
movie I would actually be excited for.
Yeah. I
Agreed.
would be excited for
Like,
that too.
They said that they would greenlight it. I think it depends upon how well Barbie does, and you know these things. You can have something greenlit and then like
it's called Blade Runner 2049. Yes, that's funny. No, you're right. It could get greenlit, but I don't see.
It doesn't
how.
mean it's going to get made.
Yeah,
You know, we'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh, thoughts though on your what would you rate this movie? Because I'll start. I gave it a 5 on Twitter, but I'm like hovering around a 6 because the imagery is sticking with me quite pretty heavily. Like a lot of, especially the set design. I really liked a lot of it, and it didn't. I didn't hate watching the movie. I just hate reflecting on a lot of it. So, you know what I mean? Like while I was watching it, like there was moments where I was like, "That's cringe," but like when they're in Barbie Land, I'm like, "Oh, dude, this is fun." Especially the 20-minute scene or the span of time where it's just Ken's being based. Like I was smiling like the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I was smiling doing that too.
Yeah. The movie got more laughs out of me than a lot of modern comedies. I will say that.
Well, dude, modern comedies, don't exist.
Well,
they don't exist.
And Noah
dude.
Baumbach is a very clever writer. Like he's had some pretty great movies.
Did you like White Noise or no?
I didn't see it.
Didn't like it.
I didn't care for Marriage Story, but I mean, I really like The Squid and the Whale and Kicking and Screaming. And Greenberg, I really liked, and I really liked Mistress America. So I think that he's done. You know, he's good at writing pretty good comedy stuff, and that does come through, like his ability to write jokes, and I think Gerwig also has a good sense of humor, so their ability to write jokes I think are
I need to watch Little Women.
Little Women is great. I mean, it's not a comedy, but it's a really, really good period piece.
I liked The Favorite a lot. That was Yorgos Lanthimos, but I have a feeling...
I wasn't huge on The Favorite. I'm a big fan of Yorgos Lanthimos. I think my favorite of his is still Dogtooth.
Oh man, that's a dark one. That's like there's nothing positive about that movie. Yeah,
that's why it's great.
yeah, I guess. Dark movies are fun. I just watched Prisoners again recently. That movie's dark as shit.
Oh, that's on my to rewatch list. It keeps getting shown to me on like reels and stuff. Yeah, I might.
If you want to watch some dark movies, I got some suggestions for great ones.
Okay. Oh yeah, you do videos about them and shit.
I do Shocking Cinema.
Yes.
Ooh. Well, Nightcrawler's not that dark.
Nah.
Nightcrawler's an awesome movie though.
Yeah.
Love Nightcrawler.
It's not that dark.
Oh, see it, Steven. Thanks for joining the chat and stuff. I saw you in there, and I appreciate it. Thanks for joining, buddy. Squid and the Whale is pretty heavy. But yeah, what are your ratings?
It's pretty heavy, but it's also funny.
I'm sticking with a 5 out of 10. It was just kind of mid, the whole movie, and maybe I don't know. What are your thoughts? Movie Cynic.
2 out of 10.
Oh boy.
I really didn't like this movie, and the only reason it's even a 2, I think it was a beautiful movie, like the cinematography, the set design, everything we've complimented. And I don't know, off the top of the head, maybe I'll give it a 3 because Ken was fun. Maybe a 3 out of 10. So 3.
That's how I feel about Godzilla. Like the Godzilla Kong movie, I'm like, oh, I could watch a 30-minute cut of just them, and I'll give that movie like a 10 out of 10.
Exactly. I feel the exact same way about that movie.
The rest of that movie is terrible. I hate the humans. I'm sick of them. Tired of humans and military like generals, like whatever. And I'm tired of looking at the action outside of a fucking window of an airplane. Like I just want to watch the fucking fight scenes.
Yep, same.
But that's how I feel about Ken in this movie. And then the fight was great. It was better than Godzilla Kong fights. I'm joking, but Vex, what was your rating?
I give this a 2 out of 10. 1 point for Set, 1 point for Ken. I was really excited for Barbie. Like I got my tickets 3 weeks in advance. I was really I knew it might have been a shit show, but I was still excited for it because I was at the end of the day just a fun movie about a doll. And there was far too much messaging shoved in my face. It made me kind of uncomfortable at times. If I were a parent, I would have taken my child out of that theater after the first half hour because it's absolutely just like, no, there were so many kids in the first theater that I went to that I was just like, by the time I actually saw the movie at the second theater, I was like, why would you take your kids to they wouldn't even understand 90% of what was going on in the film.
That's a good point. I don't think it's like gonna harm any kid watching it. I think they'll just they just won't understand what they're fucking watching.
Here's what I feel like because I work with children, so I kind of see this on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of things like, okay, a kid won't get it, so we'll just skate over them. But it's the fact that it leaves a mark anyways, and they start to connect the dots that way, right? Yeah. So it's like this whole stupid trend with like the NPC trend. It's all OnlyFans girls doing it. And most of the people that use TikTok are under the age of 10. So you have a bunch of sex workers making NPC videos for children under the age of 10, just opening the gateway for them.
Yeah, TikTok's.
Oh, yo, what's up, Wooly One?
Hey, Wooly.
What's up? Shout out to my boy, Wooly One.
Hey, Wooly. Thanks for joining, buddy. Oh, speaking of all the new people that are here, pretty much I do streams like this all the time. So I'll talk about. I talk about indie films. I talk about blockbuster films. I talk about video games, anime, comics, mostly movies. Though I'm a big, I kind of vibe with Kino a little bit in terms of like my interests. So if you like that stuff, we talk about that a lot. Mm-hmm. There's also a membership. If you guys like the streams and if you want to support the channel, you can hit the join button under the video. There's like a couple different tiers. I'm still trying to get
set that up on my channel,
dude. It's hard because I'm trying to like the problem with the tier thing, the membership tier is when you start doing incentives, you have to build up a certain amount of people in order to do a members only stream because like if I went live now, I might have like 2 people watching, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to push
I
that
don't
a
even
little bit.
I don't even think I have the human capital to do that even on my channel.
Yeah, it's just like, so if you want it's there. But likes, comments, subscribes would be appreciated. But I think we're gonna move on to
Oh wait,
Oppenheimer.
I got to give my review.
Oh shit! Yeah,
I got to
your
give
rating?
my review.
What's your rating?
10 out of 10, obviously, best movie of the year. It's going to win best picture. No, but seriously, I'd say a 6 out of 10. You know, 6. I hover between a 5 to 6. Like set design, like that kind of set design, I love to see in movies. And the fact that there's actually a movie now with color, where a big trend in cinematography and set design has been to like eke the color out of everything. It's like, the fact that it's going against the grain, actually make films look like real movies, like how they used to. I have to give it huge props for that. There's a lot of clever writing. I have to give it props for like actually making me laugh. So many of the quote unquote comedies I've seen in the last several years have not elicited a single laugh out of me. So you know what? Big props for that, for actually making a funny movie. And then, and the script, definitely had some major problems with the script, but the overall direction I thought was pretty good. Like the way that the editing and the direction I thought were still really good. And Ken was great. Ryan Gosling, I think it's a really funny standout performance, and I think that really shows off his range as an actor. And so I have to give props for everything, even if I thought that the script could have used a lot more work.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's interesting. Now, it was a double feature, so like, technically the question everybody wants to know is who won the war. I think we can all agree Oppenheimer won the battle of this.
Yeah,
it was far better movie.
Yeah. Now Vex has not seen Oppenheimer. Did you?
Spoiler alert! They bombed Japan.
Yeah, that's why I told Vex to come on. I'm like, I think you know the ending. So.
Yeah, you're a little 80. Curious. You're 80 years late for the spoiler warning, but it's
I'm
all
curious
good.
Though, Vex. Did you just haven't had time yet? Are you interested, or are you a Nolan fan?
I'm very interested. It's just I ended up getting sick for a week, and I'm still recovering. And now all of the theaters that are there's one theater that's showing it in the 70 millimeter it's meant to be seen in, and they're booked out for the week. Like I can't book a seat at all.
I bought my tickets to 70 millimeter a month and a half ago. That's how
so I was hoping like to make time to do it, but I'm just not. I'm under the weather still, so it doesn't make sense
time with
me.
it.
I did I had to drive 2 hours. I had to drive down to San Antonio to see it.
Wow.
Dang.
And you know what? It was worth it. I always like to see movies on film just because that's how a lot of these movies are meant to be seen. And Nolan is really a hit or miss director for me. Like there are plenty of Nolan films I don't really quite care for. One of my hottest takes is that I don't think The Dark Knight is all that great. Because people just remember it's like Place Beyond the Pines, right? Where people just remember Ryan Gosling. People just remember Joker. So much of the movie is kind of boring and badly paced.
I actually agree with
all the Harvey Dent,
a little bit.
All the Harvey Dent stuff I could honestly kind of do without. And I think that if it was a much more focused movie, it would have been a lot better. I think that the Joker in The Dark Knight was amazing, of course. But I think overall as a movie, it really falters. So Nolan, for me is hit or miss. I'm never like that excited for a new Nolan film. But I really do have But I really do have to give Nolan credit where credit's due. Well, for one, even if I don't really care for his movies, the technical filmmaking behind all of his movies is always very good.
Yep.
And he can get normies to go see movies shown on film.
Yep.
Like that they're sold out, showing on film. And it's like, that's something that's for that, like, an awesome film society here. It's like only the cinephile, like it's only the nerds who are like next month they're showing Yojimbo on 35. And it's like, it's going to be the nerds who go out to see Yojimbo on 35 millimeter. I just saw the Romero classic, The Green Ray on 35 millimeter. It's like the huge cinephiles, right, that go out to do this. But he's able to get literally everybody out to see films on 70 millimeter, 35 millimeter. It's quite impressive.
Tarantino does the same thing with.
I'd say that
Yeah.
But I will say this, I'll let you guys talk, but I think Oppenheimer might be one of my favorite Nolan movies, partially because it's unlike a lot of his other films.
Yeah. I think
the editing style is much, it reminded me so much of Terrence Malick, actually, in how it flowed. And I'm a huge Malick fan. And I really like the flow of it. And how it makes you think at the beginning. So it's in both color and black and white. It makes you think at the beginning that this is a time difference, but it's actually a perspective difference.
Yeah.
It's the perspective of Strauss versus the perspective of Oppenheimer. And it makes you think that. And then there's like that point in the movie where it clicks and you're like, oh, I see. I get it now. When you're seeing the story from a different person's perspective, you it changes to black and white. And the cinematography of this movie is outstanding. I thought Cillian Murphy just did such a he's in so many of the scenes, and the way that he holds this film together with his performance is Prestige is one of the best Nolan films. In my opinion.
I asked chat to name their favorite Nolan movies, and I feel like this movie has a big cult following, even though it's not like nearly his most popular movie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think I want to say this quick. I think The Dark Knight might be the most overrated movie of all time, and I can make a case for it. I looked.
Shawshank Redemption might be more overrated.
You're right, but I like the Shawshank Redemption more than The Dark Knight.
How is Shawshank Redemption overrated? Out of curiosity,
it's the ultimate. This is a normie litmus test, right?
If you go to IMDb, it's number one.
It was like the number one movie.
It's number one. Dark Knight's number 3.
Yeah, it's like it does. Okay, Shawshank Redemption is a fine movie. I'm not saying that. I think it's a really good film. But if you go to like a regular person, ask them their favorite movie, a person who doesn't watch a whole lot of movies. I've heard so many people say Shawshank, Forrest Gump or Shawshank Redemption, and that's just like I know this number one on IMDb, so you're not going to judge me if I say some weird movie. I'd rather them say some weird movie that I might not have heard about. But it's definitely like this. 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago, I remember I was listening to NPR and there was some study they were talking about. I know I'm old. Where it's like, what movie do people say that they watched that they haven't watched to sound smart? And it was Casablanca. And so there was a segment on that. And I feel like Shawshank Redemption is kind of in that same category.
Yeah. Now,
what? I feel like everyone has seen Shawshank Redemption.
You'd be surprised. Maybe they
saw it on TV or whatever.
Yeah, it's on TV all the time.
Yeah,
but The Dark Knight though is to me like, okay, if you want to say all-time greatest films ever made, The Dark Knight, Shawshank is a better film than The Dark Knight. So is The Godfather. So is Schindler's List. I just think that The Dark Knight being number 3 on IMDb is like, I think it's also just popularity. Bias.
Yeah,
it's recency.
It's also recency bias. Yeah,
it's pretty much. It's superhero bias too. But it's a good movie. I like it. I like The Dark Knight. I prefer Batman.
I mean, I like both of those movies quite a lot. But I'm just saying that people when it's like when you get into the what is the greatest movie of all time discussion.
Yeah.
When you get into and I don't really like this. Like, I'm gonna rate like the top. These are the top 10 movies of all time because like every movie is trying to achieve a different end. And I think that it's reductive to say like, oh, here's the top, like whenever Sight and Sound does like, here's the top 100 movies of all time. And what you end up doing when you put movies on these lists is that you incur onto them an extra layer of scrutiny that they probably didn't even deserve. Like when Jean Dielman, got rated best film of all time by Sight and Sound this last year.
Modern political influence on that list, but
yeah, exactly. And you had all these recent movies that they're fine. They're good movies.
Yeah, like
but
Get
then
Out.
They get said like, I didn't care for Get Out, but like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, right? It's like number 23, or it's like so high up there, and there's obviously huge recency bias. And what it ends up doing is it ends up marring the film's legacy because people then say, well, how is it as good as, The Godfather? How is it as good as any of Orson Welles' movies?
Yes.
And actually, and then they tend to swing the opposite direction where they're like, it's actually shit, when it's not but it didn't ask to be on this list of best 100 movies of all time. but putting it on that
Yeah.
list adds that extra layer of scrutiny. So like The Dark Knight being number 3 on IMDb, I don't know a single person who didn't enjoy watching The Dark Knight, but I don't know many people who would say it's the best movie or the third best movie of all time. And
No,
that just
huge
yeah.
difference between like I feel like when people try and rank the best movies of all time, they just are picking their favorite movies of all time, and those would be two totally different
Popularity.
lists if you were
Mhm.
yeah.
well also
And
also
Dark
it's
Knight was like a
yeah.
landmark movie for its time too. So and I
Yeah.
think that does play a role. Like you have to
And
give
Heath
it
Ledger.
credit for what it did. Because I
Yeah.
didn't like Batman Begins when it came out, and I think The Dark Knight Rises is a definitely a
Terrible.
flawed, yeah, totally flawed ending to a trilogy. But The Dark Knight was so much better than the other two that it raises up the entire trilogy.
see, I
Yeah.
think Batman Begins is overall a better film.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
like.
I think
Batman
it's much more.
Begins.
I think it's much more cohesive in its vision.
Oh, for sure. The pacing in The Dark Knight and the editing is so bad. Like we did a breakdown of it last week on a live stream, and I'm a huge fan of The Dark Knight, and I was sitting there scrutinizing and just picking it apart because it's so easy to now because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies where when it first came out, it's moving at such a rapid pace, you don't even have time to sit and breathe and think about all the things that it's happening. And then
like Oppenheimer?
well, a Nolan film. Imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Melvin, I actually agree with Melvin here.
What was it again?
Treasure of Sierra Madre is I think Humphrey Bogart's best movie. Is easily Treasure of the Sierra Madre. I don't know if African Queen is that much better than Casablanca, but I think that Casablanca is kind of an overrated movie. It's still a good movie,
So
but
good. It's so good.
I didn't fall in love with it the same way that I fell in love with Treasure of Sierra Madre.
I have to watch that. Yeah, Nolan is like not just his films, but he himself, I think, is also slightly overrated in certain conversations. I see
Reddit.
it's like, yeah, there's a lot of yeah, it's like the meme, like the Reddit cinephiles are like Nolan shads or whatever. I understand he's technically like the closest thing maybe we have to Kubrick besides Villeneuve maybe in current day, but like that doesn't mean he's Kubrick. I mean, there's a big gap between Kubrick had like, I don't like Christopher Nolan's screenplays. I usually don't. I think his emotion.
That's the biggest problem with Interstellar.
Yeah.
Interstellar had a terrible script.
It's not. It's just
terrible script.
There's like this melodrama, and then it just falls flat. And then like Kubrick is on another level. But I will say that like what do you think about what I just said? Do you think Nolan and Villeneuve would be like our modern day Kubricks, or what do you guys? Who else?
I don't even think we need a modern day Kubrick. We had Kubrick.
Sure, but I'm saying
movies.
Who's doing the most impressive like work in scope in cinema right now?
No, I think the modern day Kubrick's Robert Eggers. I think that he's
Eggers for sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think Nolan is a landmark director that is incredible at concepts, and he is a clearly flawed director. But Oppenheimer is probably his most mature and his best work to date, I think.
Yeah.
But no, like there's something to say. It's kind of like he is the human incarnation of his film, The Dark Knight, and it's a landmark film, and he's a landmark director because his concepts are like, you remember his movies for good or bad.
Yes, you do. And also Kurosawa better than Kubrick. I don't know. It's hard to say. I love Kurosawa. I've seen
Yuhan, shut the fuck up. Go back to
20 of his movies. Yeah, Yuhan. Shut up, Yuhan. You like Kurosawa? Name 3 movies. Go. Okay. No, I love Kurosawa. Nolan's fantastic.
I like to give Yuhan shit.
I like giving all my guys shit. I don't know half you people, but I love you for being here. Thank you, Trevi McTrev, for being
Northman was based.
Yeah, the Northman is so good. Look, he's doing Dracula next.
Beta.
I think we're gonna
beta male.
I think we're gonna see a meteoric rise with his Dracula. I just think at some point he's gonna hit like hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office, but not yet. I guess I don't know. The Northman was too niche. I don't know, but I don't know. We could talk about all this stuff.
I think the marketing for it just sucked. I think the marketing was just really bad.
It was bad marketing.
But let's talk about Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
so Oppenheimer.
I do want to. I'm going to go to the bathroom quick. I want you 3 to give your little quick brief like takeaways of Oppenheimer, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty quick. after that.
Okay, I'll
be right back.
start off because
Go ahead.
right after Lofty goes, I have to go for a sec to
I
get another
I
water.
do. I have to pee bad. I'll be back.
But anyways, so with Oppenheimer, I kind of put this along with films like Dunkirk, which is where the dialogue in Oppenheimer, just like the dialogue in Dunkirk, doesn't really matter so much, unlike a lot of his other very expositional heavy films. And what he's really trying to achieve with Oppenheimer is create a sort of he's trying to make his movie into music, like how Dunkirk was, where it's really all about the pacing, and it's really all about this creating this rhythm with the editing, with the images, and with the music, kind of all in sync with each other. And it seems dizzying at first, and then you kind of get into the rhythm of the film, and you really start to feel that rhythm, and it never really lets up. And even after the atomic bomb, there's still like another 30-40 minutes of the film. And what I thought was spectacular was that the last 40 minutes were almost more like riveting than the lead up to the atomic bomb. The courtroom scenes and all the kind of deep state intrigue that was going on. And that's really a testament to the actors and to the editing and cinematography. The black and white cinematography was just absolutely beautiful. The large landscape shots of Los Alamos mixed with the close-ups of Cillian Murphy's face. And I think it had one of the best endings of a Christopher Nolan movie to date.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Like how it ends, I was just like, whoa, that was a great ending. And it's, I gotta give it to him. He makes $100 million biopic about physicists and courtroom intrigue that gets sold out. That's, that there's really no action in the movie, that they have the atomic bomb blow up in the one scene, and the other stuff is all just people talking. But unlike a lot of the other Nolan movies, especially Tenet, which is almost all exposition, the dialogue in this isn't quite as expositional. It's more like a courtroom. You're trying to because the structure of the movie is taking place over all these different points in time, and they're all interlaced with each other. And so you start off like not really knowing anything, and you're trying to put the pieces together of like his different like kind of left-wing associations with how this, going into the Manhattan Project, and then later in the 50s, when they're trying to revoke his clearance, and you're trying to put the pieces together of how these different relationships are forming. And I really like this trend in modern blockbusters, because this was a trend that was also in the new Mission Impossible, being very anti-military industrial complex, of showing just how kind of evil the people in the MIC are, and how it's all about power and control and dark secret tactics. And I don't know if you guys saw the new Mission Impossible, but it's about like the bad guy is the CIA, and so, and it's like, oh, look, when the MIC hears a person saying that maybe nuclear war is a bad thing, they totally go after them, because that, what are they going to do if there's no arms race or no war? And I saw some people on Twitter trying to say that there's hero worship in Oppenheimer, but he's portrayed as a very flawed man in this.
Yeah,
he's not portrayed as like, he's portrayed as like this arrogant womanizer, like everything that like you could say bad about Oppenheimer. He's shown to be this in this. He's not like he's portrayed as like a genius on physics, but a total idiot when it comes to politics, when it comes to like he wants to dab his toes in these like fringe like communist associations, but he's at least wise enough to not actually get a communist card. It still comes back to bite him, even if he's not like, even if maybe it's more of an intellectual musing for him, or like, I mean, he was a left-wing guy, and there were spies at the Manhattan Project, And and so some people think that Oppenheimer let them in. This is still like theories about how the Soviets got a hold of it. I mean, the reality is that we probably had a lot of spies in the Soviet Union. They had spies here. I mean, this is just how politics works.
Did you guys find the movie difficult to follow in terms of figuring out who might be spying and all that? Well, first of all, we won't spoil the movie, at least yet. Maybe we will in a little bit, but if you haven't seen it, we're just going to briefly. Well, I guess you can't spoil the movie, really.
No, really.
No, you can't.
No, it's all
never mind
record.
But like, yeah. So there's a lot of, man. I just wanted to say, this movie has very fast. I said this in my review. It's like a very aggressive forward momentum, and what Kino was talking about, all these different political intrigue stuff. It's not just that. It's the political intrigue. It's the science experiments. It's the sheer volume of scientists that are represented in the movie, and then the relationship stuff. There's multiple
Roderick's
women.
in it.
Yeah. Wait, who?
Roderick rules, baby. Loaded diaper.
I don't know. I don't get
Devin,
that.
the actor who was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I didn't see it. Oh, okay. Well, Josh Hartnett.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Hartnett, last night I just turned
Devin
on
Bostick. Devin Bostick, baby.
Dude, last night I turned on Black Mirror after I got home from Oppenheimer, and Josh Hartnett was in fucking one of the episodes. It was very weird for me. I was like, I haven't seen
Josh Peck was
10
in
years.
Oppenheimer too. I was like, whoa, it's Drake and Josh.
There's so many actors. Now I want to say this one thing about this movie that kept me focused was, people have complained about this, and I think it's a positive, which is so many celebrities in the movie as opposed to like no-name actors. It actually helped me. It straight up helped me understand and comprehend who's who. What did you guys think of that? Because I thought it was essential, because I didn't remember their names half the time.
Well, did you see the interview with Christopher Nolan when he was talking about this?
I don't think so.
He said that these scientists back then were like rock star scientists. So he wanted to emulate that by having big celebrities play as them. And it also helps because if it was no-name actors, it would have been hard to keep up with who was who.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Now, movie Cynic, you would you agree with the pacing? I think you mentioned that actually.
I think Nolan always has trouble with pacing, and then you involve biopics. And I was saying this right after I got out of the theater, was that like the beginning of all biopics, like you have to set up the person that you're making a movie about. And so it's like really choppy and really fast. But then once the ball gets rolling about 30 minutes in, there's like a cadence to it, and you just go along with it. And it's like a roller coaster almost up until the bomb drops in particular. So
there's an interesting,
it's typical Nolan stuff.
There's an interesting, I found myself kind of surprised watching it, like realizing that I was watching a movie that's very I don't even, would you see you compared it, Kino, you compared it to Terrence Malick. I don't know if I understand what you mean, because the movie has this very like almost poetic way of like flowing between scenes, but
and having the end of it to, or like what ends up happening, influence him. You hear the sounds. Like we heard the sounds of the audience cheering after the bomb gets dropped for him, like earlier on in the film, and having this almost like how he has these like nightmares about the future, and it's like these like visions,
it's
very, but it goes to like the stars, and it goes, as we're hearing dialogue, you're seeing like the explosions and the stars and things, and the camera is this kind of free-flowing kind of camera. I mean, Hoyt van Hoytsma is a really great cinematographer. He's
fucking amazing. So that guy is... I was blown away with... I love Nope. I think it's underrated. I thought his cinematography in Nope was like flawlessly epic.
When he first came onto the scene for me, when I first learned about Hoyt van Hoytsma, was her, because he was a cinematographer for Her.
Okay, yeah,
also
and
an amazingly shot film. Yeah, Interstellar. I mean, he's been working with Nolan for a few films. He was also Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet. Now,
yeah, but
he's been working with
Her,
him.
and then Nope, he's doing other things. He's just,
Mhm.
and then Nope had a lot of IMAX. And Nope even had this like
Yeah.
sort of meta analysis on IMAX, like spectacle. But
Yeah.
with the cinematographer being a character in the movie. But I fucking love. I'll talk about Nope whenever I can insert it into a topic that's irrelevant. But no, with this movie, do you think
I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, go for it. I thought that the build up to the bomb, it's weird. It's not a traditional build up to a climax, because for me it was like sort of riding a wave the first 40 minutes of the movie of kind of what you were saying, Cynic, which is like sort of establishing the players, the characters. And then there was like a point where I'm trying to remember exactly what the point was, but it was like this, it hit a moment for me, and then up until the bomb, it was like this slow escalation. And I think the music also underscores that. There's this, like, Nolan does this a lot. Like, he'll have this repetitive, like, what's that? Like, almost like, what's that technique that I'm thinking of? It's like a palindrome. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's a music technique that slowly like rises over the course of like
Crescendo.
A crescendo. There's like another term for this specific thing though.
Well, what term?
But so like, you know, like when a score will when a song will or piece of music will start sort of quiet, and then it'll slowly build up over time, and
That's
then it'll
crescendo.
just keep going and ascending. Yeah, but there's another word I'm thinking of. But this movie does it really well, I think, with the build up to the bomb. And another movie, like I'm thinking of Sunshine is another movie that I really enjoy that has similar sorts of music.
The Danny Boyle one?
Yeah, Danny Boyle with John Murphy's soundtrack.
God, that's a good movie.
And by the way, Cillian Murphy was in. He played a physicist in Sunshine.
He did. Yes, he did.
So, but the music is like phenomenal. It's essential to this movie, because once he starts to like realize that they're building Los Alamos and like this is where they're gonna launch the nuke. From that point on, I had this like slow building sense of dread. And the dread didn't even hit me until when they were like, oh, we have a deadline. Like as soon as they're like, we have a deadline now, then it's like I almost didn't even want to get there. I was like, because
it's kind of amazing how Nolan makes us like second guess whether or not the tests were effective or actually worked, or if they would destroy the whole world. Like,
oh dude,
yeah, even though you already know,
yeah, exactly. Even though you already know the ending to everything, you're always like,
oh, well, I think that's what was amazing about this movie too, is like, you know, the story, you know what's going to happen. And so like, especially as an American, like I'm connected to it in that way. And so it's up to him to get me emotionally invested and make me feel something. So like when that bomb dropped, it was dead quiet in my theater. And he really makes you feel all the things that you probably should be feeling. Like I teared up a little bit when the bomb dropped, because it really is like this, it changes the world in the moment, you know? And it's not for the better.
It's not for the better. Yeah.
So it's this really harrowing moment of like, oh my God, that's amazing that you did that. And it's also like you feel every feeling, and it's completely engineered by Nolan to make you feel.
And the sound design is shocking. It's like it's unexpected the way he filmed it, and the lack of sound for the first 2 minutes of that sequence.
What I really liked too was right after that, when he's giving a speech to all like the cheering people.
Oh, that moment.
And then you see, and it's really like the plane of focus is really small on him. He's kind of going in and out of focus, but then the background is like shifting, you know, and then
it's like
and then like the white lights are coming.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know about
everything
you,
is unstable.
I took that as some sort of string theory quantum thing where everything is like it's in like multiple places at once and it's unstable, and so I guess you got the same thing. That was so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Well, it
Now-
also might like be indicative too of like bombs dropping outside, because then like the whole place
Yeah.
becomes white. And he sees the people with their skin peeling off, and like the whole thing then like completely empty, and he's like realizing what this bomb actually did was wipe out hundreds of thousands of people.
You could tell what he started to panic when he was not getting phone calls, and he was you could tell from his acting. You could tell that he was almost having a panic attack about almost like, how many people did I just kill, right?
Mm-hmm.
and then these things brought on his visions. I will say this, chat, for people who haven't seen it, including Vex. Look, I am I'm not a huge fan of Interstellar, but what some of the scenes in that movie are like mind blowing to me, like the black hole, the wormhole. Some of that stuff is like just jaw dropping in cinematic like filmmaking. It's weird to me. Maybe you guys don't agree, but I think some of his best sequences like of filmmaking were in this movie, and they weren't even the bomb dropping. It was what Kino just said, which is him giving the speech. To me, that like little like 3-minute kind of meltdown weird sequence blew my mind. And there's another one in the beginning of the movie, and another one at the end. The one in the beginning is when he's sort of in school, and he's like has all these like head canon, quantum realm things going on, and the music playing is so loud and intense, and the editing is incredible. Like, that was fantastic. I want to watch that again.
Well, I felt a lot of dread after he poisoned his professor's apple.
Yeah.
And he's there and he's talking to him, and you're like, get that apple out of his hand, and they're having this like normal conversation, and you just focus on that, like just how he's like barely listening to Boris.
It's wild. Yeah. It's just a simple thing. And then the way he films it though with the music, and then at the end again, we'll talk about it eventually, but there's a back and forth between Oppenheimer and this other character.
Einstein.
No. The interrogation.
Oh yeah.
Where there's this rapid fire questioning and answering, and the editing and the music is just I can't even, like, I don't have any words for it.
And it makes you think too that maybe this interrogator prosecutor is actually maybe speaking regularly, but it's so kind of violent, and you're like, is this just how Oppenheimer is seeing this?
Yeah.
And you feel like you're kind of in his head for this, and you're like,
yeah,
man, he's really laying into Oppenheimer, and it was such an intense scene.
Yeah, it makes you feel very awkward, and it gives you chills. I'm just trying to describe Nolan's visual style in this movie, because it people might not be interested in this movie because it's not doesn't seem like, oh, why would I go see this in IMAX? I'm telling you, there's like 5 or 6 scenes that are like, it will blow you away in an IMAX theater, like not just 100%. The bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And would you agree, movie Cynic, with the ones that I mentioned? Do you have any other parts of this movie that you think were worth, in terms of like just pure filmmaking, like brilliance?
Well, I think the choice to actually you weren't here when Kino was talking about how they actually decided to make sure not to make Oppenheimer like a completely praiseworthy person. They really just nakedly put him out there exactly how it should be.
True.
And I think that's first of all, if I can see anything in IMAX, that's my preference and go to anyway. But
in Florence Pugh naked.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was actually thinking that, but I didn't know if it was appropriate for the stream. That's one of the ones, sure. But
in our Is a Kino group chat, it was either Mumkey or E-Rich that said that somebody in their theater took out their phone and had their flash on and was filming the screen during the Florence Pugh naked scenes.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Oh my god,
that is weird.
But I knew about the apple poisoning thing. I had watched a little documentary about Oppenheimer before I went and saw it.
Yeah.
And as soon
there's
as they
one on the
put that in
Criterion
there,
channel.
I was blown
Oh.
away. I was like, oh, okay, they're not going to just hero worship Oppenheimer or
Oh,
anything.
and then
Yeah.
Harry S. Truman calls him the crybaby scientist.
Yeah, like
Yes.
don't let that crybaby back in here. Oh man.
Yeah.
No, you're right. There's people who said they won't see this movie. I've had arguments with people on Twitter because they thought that they were going to make this guy a hero into a hero. And I'm like, first, I'm like, you haven't even watched the movie. You can't just like, and then I was like, no, even based on the trailers, it was quite obvious that this guy is a conflicted character. And then, like, I don't know.
That's what makes him compelling, though. Like, what makes him compelling is that he's not this hero guy. He's this arrogant scientist who has a very checkered past and who has a very checkered past and is not perfect. People call him like a prophet, and you're in his head by that point, and you're like, he's not one. Like, and just, that checkered past catches up to him when he tries to talk about the, what bad things could happen from a nuclear arms race, a hydrogen bomb arms race, and then and then the spies, and then they want to pin it on him.
And then he has to live with his actions. And
the moment when Kitty finds him and he's crying, I can't remember her name, who she murdered herself.
Jean.
But when
Jean is the character's name.
When
and she's like, pull yourself together, stop moping.
I liked that everyone did realize, like, you have to live with all your problems, and so do we, but you're so important, you do have to get up off your ass and get back to work.
She was great.
She was so awesome.
Is that Emily Blunt?
Emily Blunt was so good. She didn't really I wish she had more lines in the movie. I wish this movie, if my one takeaway, I give it a 9. I gotta watch it again. I can't rate a movie like this on first viewing, but
it was so heavy when I left the theater. I was like, I can't see, this is a movie that was so good, but I cannot watch this again for a long time.
But
I gotta wait a while before I watch it.
That's true. But I will say, like, I almost wish this movie slowed down slightly a little bit to kind of breathe. I mean, Terrence Malick I know you compared in a certain way to him, but like Malick movies are just much more
he does have
meditative and contemplative, and there's not a lot of somebody said, Critical Drinker was like, this movie is too labyrinthian for its own good, and I'm like, I guess, but like I was like, I'd rather have a labyrinthine, unpredictable movie than a melodramatic traditional biopic.
I'm glad that he basically took a biopic and then made it like this weird art house version of an action film.
Now, Vex, how familiar are you with Cillian Murphy from his? Just wanted to
I've watched quite a bit of his filmography. In all honesty, my favorite film of his is Breakfast on Pluto, which I don't think anyone has seen.
It's an Irish movie.
Is that Ken Loach or no?
Movie.
That's
no. I don't.
No, that's Barley. That's the Barley. The Barley.
The Wind That Shakes the Barley. That was a great one.
I haven't. What was the one you said? Vex?
Breakfast on Pluto. That's not Jim Sheridan. That's I watched it 10 years ago from my Irish film studies class.
I watched it on a whim and absolutely loved it. So one of the first movies I bought on DVD was Breakfast.
So that was after 2000. That was after 28 Days Later. It was right after.
Neil Jordan. It's Neil Jordan.
And that was right before Sunshine.
There's basically just like maybe 5 like big like Irish film directors, and it's like Jim Sheridan, Neil Jordan, Lenny Abrahamson, and then the McDonoughs. Even though the McDonoughs grew up in London, I think.
Well, who did that Daniel Day-Lewis movie? In the Name of the Father. Was that Sheridan?
Jim Sheridan.
Yeah. That's a fantastic movie. No, so Cillian Murphy. Has anyone here seen Peaky Blinders?
It's been on my watch list forever.
Okay. I'm just saying, I'm going to say it right now. This movie is great, and he's amazing in this, but he is better in Peaky Blinders. It's not even close. He has way more range. And even this movie, he's very like like introverted, and
Mhm.
he's thinking a lot, and he's really good at it. But he does the same thing in Peaky Blinders a lot,
Okay.
and it's just the character is. I would argue the character is even more complex than Oppenheimer. It's probably my second favorite show ever, behind maybe Breaking Bad, but Peaky Blinders is one of the best shows I've ever seen. He's amazing in it. He should have been up there. You know, people were like, "Oh, he's going to win an Oscar." I'm like, "Well," and they're surprised. They're like, "Oh, this guy has never really done anything," and I'm like, "Actually, yeah, you just haven't watched Peaky Blinders the past 5
I think
years."
nobody really knows him outside of the Batman movies. Is
It's
the
Tommy
bigger
Shelby.
problem? Yeah.
Yeah, the Batman movies, but even then, 20 Days Later is so long ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you guys, it's one of the best shows of all time. Stephen Knight is a fantastic writer, and the character in that movie is a politician. He is a war hero. He has PTSD. He has a very complex character. And Cillian
Mhm.
Murphy is just the most natural actor. Like, he just gets into character and stays in character forever.
Yeah.
And he does it in this movie flawlessly.
I think the
But-
first movie I saw him in was Cold Mountain.
Cold Mountain? Oh, with Nicole Kidman.
I think I saw him in 28 Days
Yeah.
Later first.
Yeah.
Was he in Cold Mountain?
No, that was Jude
Yeah.
Law.
Okay, I was.
No,
gonna
it's
Oh wait,
say, I
Cillian
don't-
maybe
Murphy.
he was in that too.
Cillian Murphy's in Cold Mountain, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What role is he in Cold Mountain?
Bardoff.
Oh, Bardoff.
I'm looking it up right now. It's
Okay.
Bardoff.
I don't remember him in that
Do you
movie
guys
at all.
prefer? Do you like Cold Mountain? Have you ever seen?
It's been so long. It's been so long since I've seen it, but we had the DVD of it when I was a kid. I remember watching it a few times.
Have you ever seen Atonement with Keira Knightley?
Once, and I don't remember it at all.
I like it. I think it's a good movie.
Once
did not
when
see
I was
it.
in college.
I don't know why it reminded me of that. Tommy Shelby
I did a
Sigma
lot of-
edits sold this movie. They
I
kind
did
of
a lot of binge watching of movies in college.
Yeah.
So sometimes I kind of forget like details about some of those movies.
Yep, same. But so I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna whenever you see this Vex, you're gonna just love it. You're gonna love this character. It's shocking to me though, Downey Jr., especially towards the end, was like he killed it every scene. And the ending of this movie, when he gets sort of emotional, I don't know, man. Downey Jr. is so good.
Yeah,
did
he's
you guys
actually
think-
allowed to act now. Unlike
Yeah.
when he's in
Yeah.
Marvel and he basically just says lines and then the body double does the other things.
Well, Nolan
Yeah.
told him to basically remove his Downeyisms, and he said, like, awesome, I can't wait. And you can see it too. Like if you watch a lot of Downey's work, he does have certain mannerisms, like a lot of actors do, that translate
Yeah.
from character to character just because they bring them to certain elements. But they were almost like completely eliminated in this movie. He embodied his character more than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, and the black and white is all, well, what did you think about this? Because Nolan said it's objective reality, but does that mean what am I wrong about that? Because the black and white is supposed to be from his perspective.
I felt
think.
like it was more from Strauss's perspective
Yeah,
and color was from Oppenheimer's.
because this movie's like 70% color, maybe. Would you say?
Yeah, about 70%
something like
color.
that. Yeah.
And I will say one thing about the acting. Everybody's great. However, Cillian and Downey they just deliver on higher levels. Everyone
Mhm.
else has, like, this guy. I like Dane DeHaan. I think he's a good actor and he's underused and he should be in more movies. He was fine. He didn't blow me away. Josh Hartnett was good. Here's Josh Hartnett. He was pretty good.
He didn't use his Josh Hartnett voice.
No,
He used the regular human voice. Instead of
did.
this super deep, grovelly voice.
yeah, this Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Benny
Josh
Safdie.
Hartnett,
Benny
Safdie
Safdie is
was
Teller.
pretty good. Yeah, he was pretty good. And
I
then
thought Benny Safdie was pretty good.
I can never remember this guy's name, but he's good in.
No,
so
if you
much.
click on it on IMDb, it should tell you.
Oh wait,
Jason
what am I
Clarke.
clicking? Jason Clarke.
It's Jason Clarke. Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
you
yeah.
the actor. Yeah, on IMDb.
Yeah, Jason Clarke is in a movie called
Terminator
he's in
Genesis.
No. He's in. Fuck me. See all photos. Jason Clarke. I can't
Just
remember.
look
He's
up
in some
Jason-
horror
just
movie.
Just look up
Yeah.
Jason Clarke. You can just type
He's
in his
in-
name.
Oh, he's Zero Dark 30. He no, he's in a horror movie that I really liked. Oh, he's in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He's fantastic in this movie. I was like, he's to me, it's him and Downey and Killian. What do you guys agree? Or I thought,
Yeah, but they
kind of-
also have the most. They also have the most dialogue. You know.
yeah,
Oh yeah, he was great in First Man too. I think First
First
Man is
Man
a very underrated
with Ryan
movie.
Gosling. It is underrated.
That's a
another
super
biopic.
underrated film. That was a great
it?
biopic.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
seen
Nobody talks about it. So chat. The First Man is literally a Neil Armstrong biopic with Ryan Gosling from the
Yeah.
guy
He
who
plays-
directed La La Land. So
yeah, I think
yeah.
I think it's Giselle's best movie.
it's
I
don't
like
know
his
about
most
that.
mature. I
It's
liked it better than
fantastic.
Whiplash.
Damn,
I
guess I'll have
definitely
to
liked
write
it better
this
than La La
down.
Land.
Write it down,
It-
dude.
it's-
It's
I
It's a
will.
solid movie. It's a very
Okay,
solid
I
movie.
believe
Yeah.
you. It's like I
I think
told you
it's
at the
better-
beginning. I stay away from anything Ryan Gosling's in, but
That's
Well,
your first mistake.
Put All
Yeah.
Good
All
Things
right.
down as well. That's a good one that he's in.
which one?
All Good Things
All Good Things.
for Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Wait, who did
um,
he play as in Chappaquiddick? Who was he in
Chappaquiddick.
Chappaquiddick? Yeah,
Um,
scroll down a little bit. Oh, he was
Ted
Ted
oh, he
Kennedy
played
in
Ted.
Chappaquiddick.
Yeah,
Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, because I was gonna say he looks like he could play as Ted Kennedy.
You know
Yeah.
what's funny in this movie?
My mom knew Ted Kennedy.
She
She was one of his assistants a
Oh,
long
shit.
time ago.
really.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
wild. Do you know what's weird about this movie? Gary Oldman
What?
plays Truman
Yep.
after playing Winston Churchill in The Darkest Hour. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought that was weird to me. Like, it almost took me out of the movie a little bit. I don't know. What do you think
you
of
know,
Gary Oldman?
No, when I
could
saw,
see
when I saw
the makeup.
Yeah, they
I
put
could see it.
prosthetics.
Yeah.
They put the prosthetics on him, and I was like,
Can't
wait, I
find
know who this actor is, and it took me about 10 seconds. I was like, oh, it's Gary Oldman. But I thought he was great. I thought he was great in that, very small role, but he's just giving Oppenheimer shit the whole time.
Oh, the stare that he just stared him. Chat. He just stares down Oppenheimer for like a good solid 20 seconds, and there's like this
Yeah.
really intimidating stare because he basically
Yeah.
the theme there is Oppenheimer thinks that he's this kind of like Oppenheimer kind of sees himself as like this philosopher
Just like,
and like
yeah.
so not really, but like more of like a person who's concerned with like global catastrophe. And
Mhm.
Truman's like, dude, you just built a bomb that I dropped. Like you have no
yeah.
you
Yeah.
have no status anymore.
When he's like, do you think the people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki
Yeah.
know who built the bomb?
Yeah.
And then Oppenheimer's
they don't
like,
give
I feel
a
like I have
shit.
blood on I feel like I have blood on my hands, and he just takes a little handkerchief out of his pocket and like dangles it in front of him.
Oh
Like,
man, that
all
was
right,
so
then
good.
take this. Yeah,
It was
it's
so
like-
good.
What did
And,
everyone think of Matt Damon?
Oh, I thought Matt
He was
Damon was
okay.
great.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
liked him a lot. Like
Matt Damon
as
is
a kind of yeah.
yeah.
I like Matt Damon.
He just kind of yells at
I know,
at
but
Oppenheimer.
he's good at it. Like I welcome Matt Damon in movies. Like he has this kind of older Hollywood charisma to him that I really like.
Did you like
he
him in The
feels-
Martian? Because
Yeah,
I did.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
I thought he was.
I wasn't
really good.
hugely big into The Martian, but I really like Matt Damon in it.
Yeah.
The writer of The Martian, Andy Weir, I made
Yeah.
one of what I consider one of the worst short stories of all time, which is The Egg.
Oh.
I really hated that short story. So I wasn't huge into like it's a very kind of Reddit tier movie.
Yeah, it's Ridley Scott doing his. thing.
Yeah, but I liked Matt Damon. I like Matt Damon and most of what he does. And
Yeah, it's
nice to
funny.
see him in here.
He said he wasn't going to do another movie for a couple years, and he
unless
said
it was Nolan.
unless Nolan called him, and then Nolan called him, so
yeah.
he had to do it. He was going
And
to.
I think that his kind of way that he carries the person is like he encapsulated like that kind of soldier turned politician character pretty well.
Oh yeah. Hey, do you are you
And
guys
Casey
familiar?
Affleck?
Oh,
Dude, Casey Affleck was great.
We're never gonna.
Yeah, it was
we're never.
pretty intimidating.
We'll never run out of people
Yeah.
to bring up because there's too many people, but Casey
But
Affleck is so good
Yeah,
in this.
Casey Affleck is so great because he does the Casey Affleck of almost like mumbling, but
Yeah.
you see in his face this one note, just like vindictiveness, and you know that he's playing the part of like a soft spoken guy, and that makes him like all the more intimidating. His role is Pash, right? And
Ash?
Matt
He was
Damon's
an
like,
FBI. Is that I think in the movie?
No, he wasn't FBI. He was like the head of security for the Manhattan Project. He was military. And then Matt Damon's like, you don't understand. This guy went to fight the Reds. Like his family's Russian, and he went to fight the Reds. He fought for the White Army in 1920, and he wanted to use Russian interrogation techniques on people here in the States. Like, you don't understand how crazy this guy is.
Yeah, they're like, he's killed more commies than anyone in this fucking place.
And then he's like, but I thought since he was Russian, like he would be open to it. It's like, no, he hates the Bolsheviks. Like, you don't understand how much he hates them.
I wanted to ask if like let's do a little bit of a contrast. Do you think this movie is in the same tier as other like war era films like Doctor Strangelove? Do you think like what in 20 years from now we're going to be still talking about this movie? I just wanted to add Paths of Glory to that conversation because
I don't think it's fair to describe it to Doctor Strangelove, because Doctor Strangelove is a satire. I say that the movie that came to mind, although this is a much better movie, the movie that came to mind after watching this movie it feels like a better version of the Imitation Game, because it's both about scientists working like behind the scenes to win World War II, right? Who would later get persecuted.
This is so much better.
But this is so much better because the Imitation Game took like the standard biopic route of how it shot everything.
Yeah. I still enjoyed that movie though.
It's fine.
I still enjoyed Imitation Game, but it's fine. Yeah. It's like a movie that you might see on Masterpiece Theater. Yeah, that's kind of how
I think time will tell, of course, with this kind of movie, but I think there are movies that are similar to it that have come out over the past 10 or 15 years, and you don't remember them because they just weren't as well made. So if there is a movie that is going to kind of stand the test of time and be remembered, this would be one of them.
And like I said, Paths of Glory to me is one of my favorite war movies ever, and it's basically it's Kirk Douglas. It's very straightforward. Have you seen that one, Kino? It's.
Wait, are you asking me if I've seen a Kubrick movie?
I know, but I know you did the other one for your video. I just wasn't sure.
I've seen all his movies.
You've seen all his stuff. It's like that movie's so heavy and this movie is way different than that. It's more epic.
Kubrick, I think, met his first wife on Paths of Glory.
Oh, okay.
I think that was his first wife he met on Paths of Glory.
It's so good. But this like war biopics, like I did not like the Spielberg one. What the hell was that called? The Bridge of Spies. That movie is very forgettable. Maybe his worst movie. Yeah, I did not like that movie.
That is not his worst movie.
It's maybe his
that's not as bad. That is not as bad as Ready Player One. Come on.
Oh, come on. Ready Player One's fun and
Ready Player One was terrible. I wanted to commit Sudoku during Ready Player One.
But no, I just this is like just one of the best war movies I think I've seen, to be honest. Like it's
one of the best war movies that actually doesn't show the war.
Yeah, it doesn't show the war.
Like the behind the scenes drama. The drama off the front lines. Because I mean, there's plenty of great war movies like The Thin Red Line.
That's different.
Yeah.
And there's other movies about this event. Like a lot of them are Japanese films, and I can't think of another American.
Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like Children of Hiroshima, which is a really, really good. It's almost, I don't know, I can't recommend it because you can't find it anywhere, but it's a really good Japanese film about the bombing of Hiroshima, like aftermath. And it has some beautiful montages of the bombing with like it gets pretty dark. There's like naked people being like obliterated. And this is like a 1950s Kanito Shindo Japanese film. Like it's
Did you guys ever see the movie Threads, the British movie?
No, I haven't.
No.
Oh, you guys got to watch Threads. So Threads is made to look like a BBC documentary, and it was released on the BBC television. And so it's made to seem like a documentary about what would happen in the wake of total nuclear holocaust.
Jeez.
And that is a harrowing movie.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that's
Grave of the
really
Fireflies.
good.
Another one is Barefoot Gen. But Fireflies is not about the Hiroshima. It's about firebombing. But yeah.
Yeah, it's about the firebombing. I didn't care for Grave of the Fireflies too much. I think
Hypocrite.
That's one of the,
Get off my screen. Kidding.
I think that's one of the Ghibli movies that just doesn't quite work emotionally. I think that like when we were talking about Barbie being heavy-handed, I think that there are other better Ghibli movies about World War II that are much better, like The Wind Rises, for example.
Oh yeah, somebody asked me in chat earlier about The Wind Rises if it's similar to this movie. It's not really. It's The Wind Rises is more slower paced. This is I can't stress enough how fast this movie moves. It's very aggressive. It's just very aggressive.
It is very aggressive.
Like a lot of Nolan movies.
Another Spielberg's AI is kind of cynical and depressing, but I kind of like it. I don't know. What do you think of it? I didn't want to go on a Spielberg tangent.
I will never rewatch Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Never.
I've seen
and reading, I try to read the book, and you know what? I'm not a book burner, but let me tell you, that is a book that if there's going to be some Fahrenheit 451 stuff, I'll be behind throwing Ready Player One and Ready Player Two, the book, right into the fire.
Einstein was great in this movie. Like I said, I didn't actually mention this, but somebody else did. The very end with this scene at the very end of the movie is flawless, and it's the end of this movie. The final shots will haunt you.
Like, who's playing Einstein?
It's
Einstein. They just
found it's Tom Conti. It's
Okay.
Tom Conti. So Tom, I don't know. Oh, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. He was in oh boy,
Great movie.
I don't know him very well. I just know him from Merry Christmas and Paddington 2.
What they actually did, they went to Einstein's grave, they injected him with adrenochrome and stem cells from Korean foreskins, and then they brought him back to life.
Brought my boy back.
She was
that's
great.
how Hollywood does it. It's called movie magic.
Oh my God. River Miles just set off a nuke in my chat with a $50 donation. Thank you, Miles. Let's see here.
Oh,
Turbo Kid is the best. Turbo Kid is the best movie of this millennium. Wait, are you comparing this to oh no, you mentioned this before on another stream.
I like Turbo Kid. I saw Turbo Kid, I think at Sundance. I remember liking it. I don't think it's the best movie of this generation, but I liked it.
Millennium. Is that like a
millennium?
Is that like of since Christ was born?
Wait, no, since 2000.
2000.
But
okay,
the problem is American Psycho came out in 2000. So you know, which movie have I rewatched more? I got American Psycho on repeat.
Yeah,
I got it on repeat. All right, wow. American Psycho. I got this purple drink. Look at my sheet.
I'm hiding Kino. River Miles, I got to watch this because I remember you mentioned this before, and I watched the trailer and I really liked it, so I'm gonna check it out. And thank you for the super chat, buddy. That's awesome, buddy.
You know what Turbo Kid reminded me of was the aesthetics of it reminded me of this this kind of cult movie that was directed by Brandon Trost. He's a cinematographer, but he directed this movie I didn't really care for a whole lot. But it does have a cult following called the FP.
Not heard of it.
The Trost, where it's like this kind of 80s retro nostalgia aesthetic, like post-apocalyptic, but it's about people who fight each other by playing Dance Dance Revolution. That's what Turbo Kid reminded me of.
I was a master at that back in the day. And so was Adam Lanza. Has anyone seen that video?
Yeah.
There's a video of Adam Lanza playing DDR. It's very terrifying to watch.
It was all over 4chan for quite some time.
Yeah. American Psycho. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
You guys didn't get my Spring Breakers reference back there.
I haven't seen it, dude. I
Because
know.
he's like, I got Scarface on repeat.
Is that what James Dean says? I mean,
James Franco.
James Franco.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Selena Gomez in it? Spring
Yeah.
Breakers? Okay.
Spring Breakers is a masterpiece. Harmony Korine, top tier director.
He's trolling.
No, I'm not. I love Harmony Korine.
I'm not a fan.
I released a video about Gummo last month.
I'm just not a huge fan of that.
I love Harmony
Gummo
Korine.
is weird. Oh, what's that old people movie?
Oh, Trash Humpers.
Disgusting movie.
Disgusting
Movie.
It's about old people humping trash cans.
That sounds lit. Hold on.
It is. That's like actually a real movie.
Yeah, he tried to make another movie where he was just getting into like filming him getting into fights with random people on the street, but then he got like brain damage and he had to stop it.
I can't stand that guy. I don't get it.
I love him.
Too smart for me.
I love him. Spring Breakers is a masterpiece, dude. The whole like montage where they're singing the Britney Spears song while waving their guns around is absolute Kino.
I like James Franco. I should watch Spring Breakers. I wanted to ask you guys, so Nolan has a movie coming out this year. Ridley Scott has Napoleon. Martin Scorsese has Killers of the Flower Moon. David Fincher has
Wes Anderson has 2 movies.
Wes Anderson has a movie coming out. David Fincher's The Killer comes out on Netflix. When's
that out? Hold on.
It's in November, I believe.
November.
It's Mads Meek. I mean, it's Michael Fassbender. I get them mixed up.
Michael Fassbender.
How do you? Okay.
I just know about it from I don't know how I found out about it, but nobody's talking about it. But my point is, this movie's
they're going to talk about it closer to its release.
They will. But this year is actually pretty big for like this generation of like directors that or not
Gen
this
X
generation. Yeah. It's like all but Tarantino and PTA have movies coming out, and it's like I don't know. I just I think this year is. Yeah, I just think this year is.
Terrence Malick might have a movie coming out soon too.
I hope
he's finished editing. He's finished editing his new film.
I hope so. And like you said, Asteroid City just came out with Wes Anderson.
Yeah, and Wes Anderson has another film coming out in October.
I'm just excited for original films like this. I Barbie too. Like even if you didn't like it, I say this a lot, but I'm kind of getting sick of the Marvel DC outrage culture hijacking all of the movie conversations, which is part of the
shit.
why I wanted to have this stream, and also I want to do other streams like this. But it's just true. Like every day is another Marvel.
Yorgos Lanthimos is coming out with a new movie.
Well, that's my point. This year is kind of wild, and Dune. This year is wild. Dune comes out,
that is if these movies actually do get released, because they might get pushed to next year.
Yeah, I don't know if Yorgos gives a shit, but
well, it's not if he gives a shit. It's like if they can't market it because of the SAG strike, then they might push it to next year.
True. That's what's going to happen.
Luca Guadagnino as well. Challenger is supposed to come out this year, but they were talking about pushing it to 2020.
I think it
2024.
was. I think it was just delayed.
Well, it's finished. No, it's finished. They cited the actor strike as they won't be able to.
That's because Zendaya sells tickets. Oh no, not Zendaya. Is it Zendaya?
Yeah, Zendaya. Yeah,
Challenger.
I love Guadagnino. I think he's a fantastic director.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys seen Bones and All? I know Kino has.
No.
I highly recommend it. It's if you like, how do you compare? Would you compare it to like Let the Right One In, sort of, Kino? Maybe
somewhere in between that and Terrence Malick's Badlands.
It's a very artsy sort of meditative movie with Timothy Chalamet about cannibalism. Came out last year.
Yeah,
underrated movie. I like
very underrated. Another underrated film by him is A Bigger Splash with Ray Fiennes and Tilda Swinton and the one woman from 50 Shades of Grey. What's her name? Don Johnson.
Kristen Stewart. Dakota
Kristen-
Johnson.
Dakota Johnson. Yeah, that movie is also great. It's a remake of the French movie La Piscine, which also is a pretty good movie, but I actually preferred A Bigger Splash to La Piscine. I thought that, what Luc Guadagnino's done in his 2 remake films, which are A Bigger Splash and Suspiria, is he doesn't really do remakes. He does complete like reimaginings. And even though I do prefer the Argento Suspiria, I really have to give him credit. There were a lot of things I liked about the new Suspiria, where he wants to make a whole different kind of movie than what the original was. And like, that is really what a remake should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. I agree. One shot for shot remakes are rarely ever good.
It's like the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn. I like Vince Vaughn. I like Gus Van Sant. But like, that movie just should not exist.
Wait, let me ask you this question. You know, this whole threat of AI invasion, all this stuff. Do you think that, like, you know how Nolan shoots on 70 millimeter like this? I didn't get to see it, but I was going to ask, wait, movie Cynic, did you watch 70 millimeter?
No, I saw an IMAX, but it wasn't.
I just watched regular IMAX, and it looked like I think the quality is still fantastic, but I didn't get the scope.
You get more like you get the imperfections when you watch it on film, which is what I really like. Like I like watching these old movies on film because the reels are kind of old, and you start to get like scratches and stuff, and there's a little bit of a vibration to the image, because it's actual stuff running through and kind of vibrating the projector, and it makes it feel like more present than just a digital screen. And then the grain is more pronounced, because a lot of times when they make it into like an IMAX DCP, they will do like DNR. They'll do like a noise reduction to make it more of a sleek image. Whereas when you watch on film, that grain is really noticeable, and the grain, especially blown up on IMAX, is a really kind of nice, warm, fuzzy kind of grain that
I remember
does make it feel more handmade.
I remember watching The Hateful Eight in 70 millimeter, and it felt that way. I felt this what you're describing. It's it's just like warm and just like inviting. But what I was going to say about AI is this threat of like digital AI invasion into cinema or whatever. Do you think film is going to sort of become like an auteur standard of making movies in the future because of AI? You think more people will embrace the medium of film because you can't use AI if you shoot on film. Like it doesn't incorporate the same way as it does with digital. You know what I mean?
You can use AI like people I think have kind of the wrong idea of what AI is. Like no two AI are like the same thing. So there's one startup under Y Combinator right now. Or I don't know if you guys are familiar with YC.
I don't think so.
And so there's one startup under Y Combinator right now called Kino AI. They're fans of mine. Shout out to Kino AI. But like what their AI does, and I'm really interested in using this. They're going to give me a demo. They're going to give me a version of it to use. So I'll test this out, and Lofty might be interested in this.
Oh boy.
Is basically it for editing purposes, it processes like all of your footage, and it can work as an assistant editor. And then you can plug in like shot of back of a head or a shot of this actor, and it'll pull up all the timestamps. Photo recognition, but it also recognizes dialogue. So you can be like, I need to find this thing where this person says this line of dialogue, and and then you can pull that up, or if there's text on the screen, different things, or you can even look up like based on color temperature or warmth type of shot.
Well, that's fine. That's a tool. I understand.
No, but what I'm saying is that's AI as a tool, and a lot of AIs are kind of like tools. So I think that there needs to be a distinction between like AI generated video, right? AI generated scripts.
That's what I'm.
in my
Yeah.
experience, like ChatGPT,
Wait,
like
hold
hasn't
up one
been
second.
super great.
Wait, I didn't want to forget because I forgot this earlier. Flaccid Phoenix with the $5 donation. It's just Ken is the answer to your question.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else would.
He is Knuff. He is Knuff.
He's Knuff. He beaches. What else do you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah.
Like, what else do you expect, you dumbass? I'm
But-
sorry, Flaccid. I'm sorry.
But
yeah, go ahead.
But no, so what I was going to say is like we already saw AI in Indiana Jones 5. And it's really uncanny and it's really gross looking and completely took me out of the movie. But I mean, the movie itself is super boring. So whatever.
Yeah, man.
And the thing about like AI replacing actors, I do think that the studios want to replace the actors in the long term and just like get their likenesses, that they would rather do that because like the studios, especially, but the studios can implode and this could all be this whole way of filmmaking needs to go. Like it just needs to go because how a lot of these movies are made. Why I appreciate a movie like Oppenheimer is that it feels like Nolan knew what he wanted from the get-go, right? Whereas you look at that Marvel show, what's it called? Secret Invasion. And so this Twitter account that I really like called the Disc Father shared this screenshot from Secret Invasion. You see what's on the show and then the behind the scenes of it. And Samuel L. Jackson is just sitting in front of a regular wall, like in an office room with a plant by it, right? And you see the behind the scenes. It's all green screen. It's because these studios want to be able to change absolutely everything in post to appease test audiences. And I think that's a big reason why budgets are just ballooning. Like there's no reason for these movies to have $300 million budgets. Like why does Indiana Jones 5 have a $300 million budget? You know,
the budget for Indiana Jones is like 3 Dunes, basically, if you think about it, because Dune is $120 million.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
It's insane.
There's no reason for
it.
It's
just because they want to, and I think that they want to be able to replace actors with AI and background actors with AI so that they can have more of this like micromanaging control in post-production. And I think that too, it's like they don't like dealing with actors and they would rather just get a scan of them.
Is that your editor?
That's my editor. Yeah.
He's out of a job with AI.
No.
Yeah. I don't think so.
No, I mean, plenty of like, but this whole thing, like we don't want to, Oppenheimer was 100 million. Yeah, exactly. Like when you look at the cast, when you look at like how stacked the cast is, the fact that it was shot on IMAX 65 millimeter film, that like, if you were to give this same project to Disney, they would have made it 300 million. Easy.
Yeah. I would say it's Disney's problems, and Universal seems to be good with budget, and I don't. Yeah, it's a whole thing we can get into.
That's the reason why Disney is selling itself to Apple, right? Like there aren't.
I don't know about that. They're selling assets.
They're selling assets, and I saw another article that they're proposing to Apple to buy them for what $225 billion or something.
Jesus.
I don't know. I know the Friday Night Tights people were talking about it. They know a lot more about that stuff. I just I don't care about Disney really.
But the thing about AI is that like I'm not a tech guy, but I've talked to tech guys who do work in AI, and they tend to think that there's going to be a plateau effect of just like a lot of technology. It tends to have like a meteoric rise and then a plateau. And I think that our brains, as far as like actors in films, our brains are going to be able to recognize when something is computer generated because it's going to be uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then I think, I would like to see, I'm interested to see as far as like ChatGPT making scripts, if there are going to be any kind of trademark or copyright violations, because these like language models, I mean, that kind of AI,
want that.
Is really called a language model because
I would ban
because
AI scripts, 100% ban them. 100%.
No, because what it's doing is it's going through text from all the other movie scripts. It's going through text all across the internet and it's compiling it. And that I'm not a lawyer. Like I'm a filmmaker.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but it might cause some kind of copyright issue where people can be like, or people can be like, well, this line of dialogue is actually from this movie.
Yeah,
It's my thing. You know, and unless maybe you're just, but when I played around with ChatGPT 4 for quite some bit, and you know, it's not gonna make. There's something about the human spark of creativity that goes into films that like just a computer is not going to necessarily help with. But I have talked to screenwriters who have used ChatGPT 4, and how they've told me that it helps them is when they is like somebody is like a thing to it's kind of like talking to like riffing off of somebody, like putting an idea into ChatGPT and seeing like other ideas or other like critiques that it might give, and it can help with that, but you're still writing it yourself. So it's a very kind of gray area, and it's kind of in a nascent phase right now where it's so early on, and you know,
everybody's
maybe
speculating.
it gets to this. It's very speculative, and we don't know. And like, what I mean is like a language model is different than like Mid-Journey is. But I mean, you're already seeing problems with like Mid-Journey and with like a lot of this AI art because it's taking from other people's works. And
I'm just going to say, I don't want, half the reason why I like movies is because of how they were made. So if I think about Jurassic Park or 2001, I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, Kubrick is a genius, or how that puppetry is fucking brilliant. And I don't get it. AI takes that entire conversation of human input out of the equation. I mean, if you extrapolate far enough, and if you whittle down your team of filmmakers to like 3 people, 2 engineers and a director, we'll never have conversations about, you know, Tarantinoisms or, oh, that's a Shyamalan, that movie has like a Shyamalan reference. Like, it's all going to be AI, and it's like it's going
to just be soulless.
It's soulless, and I'm telling you, the art of the film and like the way people talk about movies is going to change. That's why I'm totally in favor of, like, at least for now, like just regulating all this. I don't know why the studios are holding out on that. I don't want to get into the whole SAG thing because we're going to wrap up here in a minute.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Somebody brought this up. The ending is dreadful, says Agamemnon. It's
Agamemnon. Why did you do the things you did? You killed your own daughter.
Yeah, right. Agamemnon. You should change your name. No, it is dreadful, dude. And it just, you know, it opens up conversation about
dreadful in a good way.
What we were just talking about, really. Like, AI is sort of our Oppenheimer moment. That's why I wanted to bring it up a little bit, because it's like, who's our Oppenheimer? Like Elon Musk.
It's like we're on the brink. It's like we're on the brink of this new world, and
and James Cameron
we can see it, but we can't.
Yeah, we can see it,
but we don't know exactly how it's going to end.
Yeah, we don't know about the atmosphere lighting on fire or whatever. But James Cameron just said the other day that he thinks AI is going to probably turn into fucking Skynet. So he was like, I warned you back in 1984.
Isn't it also the plot of the new Mission Impossible?
It is it is.
Mission Impossible.
What's up, River Miles? I'm soulless? Oh, because I'm blind? No, Ken has the deepest soul imaginable. Kenergy needs to be funded. We need to have research like the Oppenheimer project. We need to understand it better. We just don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll understand Kenergy someday. We're not soulless. Come on.
Not soulless.
But thank you for the donation. Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna
wrap up here.
I'm addicted to Zins here.
Oh shit!
I gotta have my nicotine. Did you try these when you were staying with me?
I remember. Yeah, you gave me one of those. Those are wild.
Yeah.
I
gave them to one of my friends, and he just went like.
Yeah, I just smoke cigarettes. I just smoke cigarettes.
I used to
like
smoke
Oppenheimer,
menthols, dude. Dude, you gave me one of those menthols, and that made me so sick to my stomach. I was
know.
oh, I can't do this menthol, man.
I
Like,
could
just
I
give
could
me this.
see you getting sick.
Yeah.
funny. But we're gonna wrap up here in a minute or two. I just wanted to get everybody's thoughts last minute thoughts on Oppenheimer, and then also maybe give like one thing you're looking forward to in the 2023 coming up. We'll start with the movie Cynic. Let's see. Just go. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I don't ever give ratings unless I'm on a stream and I'm asked to. Oppenheimer, I'll give it a 7.75 out of 10.
Okay.
And I am looking forward to, I don't even know if it's going to come out this year, but Maxine, which is the sequel.
Hey, good
to,
answer.
Yeah, X and Pearl. Looking forward to the climax there.
That's a good answer. I think you're right. It is coming out, isn't it?
I think, well, it's filmed.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely wrapped up filming already. So,
but yeah, I don't like giving ratings either, primarily. But it just, it's fun sometimes. You haven't seen it, Vex, but do you have a movie that you're looking forward to coming out soon that you want to shout out for people to look forward to?
Voyage of the Demeter next month.
What?
Oh yeah, I saw the preview for this.
Yeah, about the ship captain for the boat that took Dracula over the oceans. Yeah,
bro,
it's like
I heard about this. This is an adaptation of like one chapter of Dracula, right, or something?
Yes, pretty much. So that's out. I think the end of next month, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm a Dracula fan. Yeah,
Bear
I'm a
McCreary's doing the
fan,
music.
So yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Dracula. You like Dracula? I love Dracula.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Netflix Dracula? What do you think of that?
I did not bother with that. I'm just saying I like the book. I like the book a lot. Yeah.
I like the Netflix Dracula. People don't like it, but the guy who plays Dracula is the same guy who plays Thor. What's his name? Skarsgård's uncle in The Northman. That actor.
Oh.
Yeah, he plays Dracula on Netflix, and he's incredible. And yeah, he's an amazing Dracula. I would recommend at least watching one or two episodes of that just for his performance. But he's also going to be in Dracula with Robert Eggers.
Nosferatu.
So look out, Nosferatu.
Yeah.
So look out for that. I don't know.
That's
what he's
my
gonna
next
be doing,
most hyped movie. Nosferatu is probably going to be my movie of 2024.
Yeah,
right there.
100%.
I am Dracula. I will suck your dick.
Ken doesn't have a
Dracula, but that's Dracula if he was in Cruising by William Friedkin.
Ken doesn't have a penis.
I'm
looking
forward to the restoration of Cruising, my favorite movie of all time. Cruising, everyone go check it out. Cruising with Al Pacino.
1980 police undercover. Yeah.
It's a classic detective story. It's
What's your take on Oppenheimer? Your final take, and then what's your
my final take? Somewhere between, like, I hate giving ratings, but between an 8.5 and a 9. I love this film.
Yeah,
the movie I'm looking forward to this year, the movie I'm looking forward to the most this year is Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest.
Oh, dude, I agree.
I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, Jonathan Glazer, Kino director,
Under the Skin,
Sexy
Scarlett
Beast,
Johansson,
Earth. And he made some of the best Radiohead music videos back in the 90s. Remember the Street Spirit Fade Out music video? That was Jonathan Glazer. Kino, he's absolute kinography. So I'm looking forward to that one. Now, what won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival this year? There were several movies that played at Cannes.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something.
No, Godland came out earlier this year. Godland was awesome.
I need to watch it.
Godland, amazing. And the other film, here's the thing. I'm going to do a video on this movie very soon. The other film that came out this year, everybody has to see, is Christopher Borgly's Norwegian comedy satire called Sick of Myself. That movie is Kino. I saw a trailer for that. And
recently,
it is like this. It's kind of like Did you guys see The Worst Person in the World?
No.
No, I know. I've heard of it.
So it's the same production company, a lot of the same crew as Worst Person in the World. So think like that kind of general aesthetic, like the Joachim Trier aesthetic, but like mixed with like $1 Million Extreme. And it's like a satire of the kind of narcissism of people online in the modern age.
Mhm.
And it's really funny. And you'll also be it's cringy in a very good way, in the same kind of way that Curb Your Enthusiasm is cringy, like where you're just like turning into
cringe.
a ball in some of the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Larry David makes you like your butthole shrinks to the size of like Ant-Man in Quantumania.
This movie does the same thing because like it's this girl and it's this woman and her boyfriend who are both humongous attention whores, and they do anything for attention. And there's this one particularly hard to watch scene where she pretends that she has a peanut allergy, and then she eats. So then they like at this fancy dinner, so they make her this like special plate that doesn't have peanuts in it, and then she eats off of her boyfriend's plate, and they're like, that has peanuts in it. And so she starts faking like she's having this gigantic allergic reaction to it. And it's so hard to watch. But it's
I think
it's so funny.
I think I will give my recommendation.
But I have to go right now. I got a work call.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for joining. And everybody go sub to the Kino Corner. Go sub to the Kino channel.
See you guys. Thanks
Good
for
to see
having
you,
me
buddy.
on.
Good to see you. And good recommendations. I think Zone of Interest looks incredible. I will give my recommendation quick, and then I'll answer this question. Highly and excited for Killers of the Flower Moon. I think Scorsese is just, I just can't not get excited for that. That's an Apple TV movie. It's wild to me that that Scorsese and Fincher and Del Toro are just streaming now. Like Del Toro released Pinocchio on Netflix, and then Fincher has a Netflix movie coming out, and Scorsese is on Apple. I have a feeling these studios are afraid to fund these more artistic like filmmakers. What is that?
Oh,
is that what you're
100%. Yeah, because they don't want to. Because the only thing that's working the only thing they think is going to work in a theater is a superhero movie, which is also not even doing well anymore either.
No, they're not. Look, Blue Beetle's gonna flop and just.
Oh, dude, it said it was projected for like 12 to 17 million.
I hope
oh
to
my
God.
God.
I hope it does.
I hope it flops for so many reasons.
I just wanted to say, Letterboxd. I wanted to say something earlier about it. I'll do a whole stream about movie. I want to do a stream about Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, Letterboxd. There's this whole dynamic. I think Letterboxd essentially has an underrated perspective on audience reviews that I think people should pay more attention to. Letterboxd is kind of a niche thing where it's not susceptible to review bombing as much. That's what I was going to say earlier. So if you go to like Metacritic, things will be rated like a 1 out of 10 because so many people give it a 0.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't happen on Letterboxd. Like people will more or less accurately review a movie, but on Metacritic, people will be like, "Oh, this movie has such agenda that I don't like, therefore I'm going to give it a 0." It's like, I don't know. Oh, my dogs are fucking being annoying. But
my cat's losing its goddamn mind outside.
I want to do a whole stream about that. I just thought I'd touch on that quick because he asked me that question. But thanks for everybody. Your description in the description are all these channels. If you guys want to shout your channel out one more time, and then I'll wrap up the stream after that. Go ahead. Go for it.
It is the Movie Cynic. Type it in YouTube search. You'll find me for sure.
And I am Vex Electronica, and then my gaming channel is just Vex Electronica Gaming. That's it. Yeah.
And
thank you again for having me.
Thank you for joining. If you want to link that, mods, or you guys can. I had mods, and sometimes they don't show up, and then I forget to make new ones. But I have to get my shit together. Thanks. Yeah, I thought that was a really actually fantastic conversation. We talked about a lot of stuff that I haven't heard people talk about on other streams in different ways. So I appreciate that. And then like we all gave good recommendations. The whole point of that is don't just like hate watch movies and then don't ignore movies that you think, I don't know. There's this conversation running around Twitter right now. It's like, should we be boycotting all movies because Hollywood's like cringe or whatever? It's like, no, I think the most obvious answer is we should be supporting movies that are original, innovative, and pushing the medium forward, not conveyor belt Marvel Disney stuff. So, like, literally support them at the movie theater. Like, to me, that's the best message to send to Hollywood. To say, hey, I want more movies like Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
I want more movies like Top Gun, Mario. I see, pay for the, like, just go to the theater. It's not, you're not betraying your values or something because you're funding a universal project. It's ways people think too black and white about that stuff. So support good movies, and then I don't know. I guess you have to get a Netflix subscription to watch the new David Fincher movie, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But no, we'll have you guys back on again, and then we'll if you want to come back and we'll talk about anything. Like I can talk about all kinds of shit. So I loved our chat today.
Yeah, same. I appreciate the invite, man. Thank you.
No problem. And chat, everybody was super participatory today. It was kind of a wild stream. This stream will be up forever. So if you missed it, go back. We talked about Barbie in the beginning, then Oppenheimer, and very fun conversations. But thanks, everybody. Chat. See you next time. I'm probably going to stream. I'm probably going to do like a Monday catch-up stream with chat and just talk about like random stuff. So hail everybody. Hail Lucifer and Non Crow. Thanks for joining. And bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.